welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following episode. My name is Colton Brown, and joining me is Andrew Meadows.
I'm here.
Let's get ready to rumble! With our episode of Creed 3. I don't think that was in this one.
I don't think so. No,
it was the same guy in all the other ones in the fucking Rocky movies too. Wasn't in this one. Not the only Rocky
old
franchise
now,
mainstay that wasn't in Creed 3, we should say. We'll get into that, I guess. But but yeah, he might be getting up there in years, much like that other person that I'm referring to.
I want to say Bruce Jenner, but I know it's not Bruce Jenner.
That's not right. Yep. But I think it is Bruce something or another. Let's just go with Bruce Boxing Announcer. And the answer is Bruce Buffer.
Bruce Buffer, that's it.
64 years old.
Is also, no one else can ever say it anymore. It's trademarked. He trademarked
65 years old. So, yeah. Good shit. I might get sued is what you're saying for doing it just now. Should I cut that bit?
No.
Should we let it roll? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll live dangerously.
I'll throw the Rocky theme in here somewhere, just for shits and giggles, just to really test the waters on YouTube and see if the algorithm picks up on it. So let's see. We talked about Cocaine Bear recently, and then now we've seen Creed 3. It's very exciting.
Which is our second or third consecutive episode recorded so far, I think. Right? Like we're steadily
we did. We got M3gan, kicked off the year after we did a look ahead, and then I think Cocaine Bear, and then now Creed 3, I think is where we're at. So we're in March now. The long February did indeed end as it was foretold, and so now we're in March, and March is like that month where like it's just loaded up. Like every week is kind of loaded up. I think honestly, the upcoming Friday from when we're recording, Scream 6 comes out. I don't know if we'll cover it because I feel like we're a little behind on the Scream franchise at this point. Yeah. But we got a Shazam sequel, John Wick around the corner in this month alone. So it's pretty busy. Oh, and The Last of Us finale drops just in a few days' time. So that's probably a pretty big deal, you might say. So. Oh yeah. But yeah, we've had a good start to the year, and I think we're gonna continue to be quite busy. I think for the next little while, it seems like. So, Creed 3 was a nice way to kick off March properly. I mean, I think the Cocaine Bear episode did go up in March, but I think we would have seen it. Maybe late February. I don't know. I can't remember. I feel like we recorded that episode on the 28th. I think we recorded it right before February had actually ended. So this is our first March episode for real this time. Excited to get into it. Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut. Interesting stuff to talk about.
Directorial debut. I was curious
Jonathan
about
Majors,
that.
He's jacked. He's boxing. We talk about that. And lots of other things.
Segues into my fun fact. I have a fun fact for you.
Oh, okay. All right, go for it. I think that's a great time for a fun fact. What is it?
I am so far.
Jonathan Majors.
I am so incredibly far from peak physical condition. Okay. It is unreal. There are men pulling airplanes with ropes on all fours in this movie. There are men climbing rope with nothing but their hand, just fucking going up the ropes, and then they run out of rope, and then they just do pull-ups on their own while they're up. The workout. I'll just I don't think it's too spoilery. Every Rocky movie has a Rocky movie.
Montage. It has a fucking montage. That is not a spoiler.
The workout montage in this movie is unreal, and it just.
Was it inspiring or was it depressing?
It was borderline depressing. Like I am just so physically fucking out of shape. It's so terrible. Like I didn't even know people were capable of such conditions. Like just the conditioning. It's really quite nuts. So kudos. It's a Michael B. Jordan lives in peak. So does. Does Jonathan Majors. Yeah.
Fucking ridiculous, man.
Yeah. Jonathan, where Michael B. Jordan is like more of a lean dude, I feel like. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's still big.
And Jonathan Majors, he's like big and bulky.
Jonathan Majors is next level.
I mean, tank. He's a tank, man.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm not a tank. I have a beer gut, I think. Yeah, so that's my fun fact. The fun fact is I discovered that the human body is capable of far more than what I'm putting my body through. So kudos to those guys for putting in the work.
Yeah, definitely. It certainly shows on screen. We can say that without a doubt. I have a little bit of a fun fact, which is something that we've already talked about on this podcast, but I think it's something that's naturally going to come up in the course of talking about this film. And it is the fact is that it's the first film in the Rocky / Creed franchise without Sylvester Stallone in it. And not only is he not in it, he was not involved in the making of this film, basically. And I think it's for a number of reasons. Number one, I think he didn't love the story direction. It didn't seem like something he really wanted to be involved with. I think the number two, and perhaps the bigger reason, is he's in a bit of a shit fit with the rights owners of the Rocky franchise, which is, I think, the Winkler family. Irwin Winkler is like this fucking 90-year-old producer that basically owns the film rights to Rocky characters, the whole franchise and whatnot. And I think Stallone feels a lot of ownership, given that he obviously toiled over the franchise for many years of his life, decades of his life, wrote and directed a good chunk of them. Obviously came back for Creed 1 and 2 and was heavily involved in both of those. So I think he's got like this sort of real attachment to it. And I think that seeing, his toys being kind of taken away from him, his babies kind of being taken away from him, I think is a really, really hard situation for him. So I think he's technically credited as like a producer, but I think it's just a legal thing of he really has no involvement in it whatsoever. It's kind of Creed outside of the shadow of Rocky is kind of what this movie is. It's almost a turning point where I feel like the first two Creeds really involved Rocky, heavily in the story, used them, for a particular reason. And this is really very much Creed kind of just being in its own thing. So we'll talk about that. But I thought that was worth throwing out there just to flag that. Obviously is, how does this movie work without Rocky? How does it feel? Does it feel like it's missing anything? That's maybe a lingering question that we can circle back around to. But it is kind of a sad story, I think, for Sly, to feel like he's, basically on the outside looking in with this franchise that used to be his baby. And Frank Stallone. We can't forget about Frank Stallone. He was very bitter about the whole situation. So I think Sly has handled it fairly gracefully. I mean, I think there's been some announcements where he's just kind of like, very obviously unhappy about the way things are heading with the franchise. But Frank Stallone is the one, throwing out like wall of text rants on Instagram and whatnot, Creed 3 is going to bomb, blah, 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 worst movie ever, blah, blah, blah. Turns out Frank Stallone's predictions weren't exactly on the money. But yeah, it's just kind of a weird situation all around, I think. So yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more, but why don't we talk about some news? Is that okay with you? Are you ready for some news?
Let's talk some news. Yeah, I feel like we're on the up and up.
Yeah, so this is mostly just me talking to myself right now about what I'm about to say. I've noticed that we're still spending a lot of time with the news, and I've noticed I think we're trying to be still a little too exhaustive. Like obviously we're not fully exhaustive, otherwise we'd be here for forever. We'd have to record every day, and cover all the fucking news. And I had a list of like options to basically put in the news for this episode. I ended up scrapping like 6 or 7 of those things. And I'm like,
oh wow,
this is like a 20-second thing, or it's like an announcement of a thing. And I'm like, you know what? We're going to get more information on this in like a month. Like I'll wait for, more details, and then we can kind of, do it that way. So there's some trailers and stuff that I elected to not include here. I tried to cull it down, for the sake of brevity. And also I think just because sometimes just put random things in there that don't really click, don't really have a whole lot of meaning to us, and there's really not a lot to say other than we'll just wait and see. And so if it's something that's like really awesome and it takes us by surprise, like we'll talk about it sometime down the line. But otherwise, these are the kind of things that feel like they should be on our radar because they're like big budget things, or they're big companies doing things, or just like it's exciting news or whatever. So anyway, I'm throwing that kind of disclaimer out there to say that we'll try to be a little bit less wordy with, I think, the news, hopefully moving forward. And I mean, the irony, of course, is that we just put out our shortest episode in a long time with Cocaine Bear, where it clocked in just north of an hour and a half, which is really fucking impressive for us. But 50 minutes of that was news and fun fact and intro and stuff. We talked about the movie itself for like 20-25 minutes, maybe something like that. So that's just kind of the funny part. It could have been sub an hour if we were brief with the news. Now I think that Creed 3 is a movie that we'll probably spend more than 20 minutes talking about. And so maybe, I think we'll probably still end up clocking more than an hour and a half today, I would guess, but we might spend, more of that time delving into Creed more so than some of the news. We'll see how it plays out. Maybe some of this news is really worth sinking our teeth into. We'll find out. But anyway, try to curate it a little bit more. Okay. I'll try to do that moving forward. Obviously, we still have a few things to talk about. We've got 4 headlines, 4 trailers basically to talk about. But we'll see where it takes us. But throwing it out there. So let's start with some headlines. We're going to bookend our headlines with some Marvel casting announcements, sort of. Right. The first one is a full-on casting announcement. Stephen Yeun is joining the Marvel Studios film Thunderbolts in what is called a key role. Thunderbolts,
the fuck is that?
Role. We don't know exactly who he's going to be playing. So Thunderbolts is kind of like the traditionally kind of like the Marvel Suicide Squad type thing, where it's traditionally a bunch of villains like who are either reformed or like pretending to be heroes kind of thing. This one is not quite that. It seems to be a lot of like the B-tiered characters from some other Marvel movies that are like coming back. So we already, like, based on what they announced about this movie already, we know that Florence Pugh's back as Yelena, Sebastian Stan's back as the Winter Soldier, David Harbour as the Red Guardian, Wyatt Russell's back as U.S. Agent from The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Hannah John Kamen back as Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then Olga Kurylenko back as Taskmaster. And then Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character is like spearheading the whole operation kind of thing. So it's, a bunch of kind of, oddball characters that maybe haven't totally fit in like an Avengers type team, but maybe this is where they can be used.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for me, there seems to be a huge detachment from like the things moving towards the Kang sort of Marvel Cinematic Universe. And things that are moving towards the, the Kree. Is it the Kree?
Kree, Skrulls?
Skrulls.
Like
the
Secret
Skrulls.
Invasion type
Secret
stuff?
Invasion. That's exactly what I'm looking for. It seems like a distinct, like, separation in team-ups and just different groups of heroes are trying to do this thing with Jonathan Majors, and then do you see what I'm saying, or is that am I?
Well, I mean, there's not like one singular unified like threat. It feels like. I mean, obviously, we kind of think Kang is a long-term threat, but Ant-Man didn't really set him up as the ultimate big bad. I don't think we're there quite yet in terms of like the arrival of Kang. He's just kind of different incarnations of him are prevalent, but we don't really know what that's totally building to yet. So it kind of feels like there's a few different directions that it's sort of building to. Like you've got this spacey side of things with probably Skrulls and more aliens and stuff like that. That Secret Invasion I think is kind of leaning into. You have the long-term big bad threat of Kang that Ant-Man at least sowed the seeds for. If not, I don't think it really outright totally set it up as an imminent threat. And I think you still have kind of that the grounded side of things where it's boots on the ground, quite literally kind of thing. With which seems like where the Thunderbolts kind of fits in is this is a pretty pretty. I don't want to say underpowered team, but like there's not a lot of crazy power sets going on here. It's mostly people with super soldier serum or no powers at all. With some exceptions. I mean, like Ghost, she can like phase through shit. Taskmaster has like the technology to mimic shit and stuff like that. But for the most part, they're just like super spies and shit. So it's pretty.
Seems scrolly, with
maybe, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't think we know exactly what the singular trajectory is of these films, other than it goes to a Secret Wars, it goes to a Kang Dynasty sometime down the road, and Thunderbolts is almost, I think, built up as the capper to the Phase 5. So maybe it's kind of, there's some sort of major events that happen within that or around that then set the stage for the bigger conflict. I don't know. Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't really know where it's all heading, but I can tell you that Steven Yeun's going to be part of it, and that's exciting.
Right on, yeah,
and that's exciting because he's a fantastic actor. We've seen him, obviously, Glenn from The Walking Dead. I think probably his major introduction to the world at large, but in more recent years, great fucking performance in Minari. Very good in Nope last year as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, yeah, he's playing a key role. It's a part that's going to be significant to this film, but perhaps also going forward in the future of the MCU. So the rumor mill suggests that he may be playing the character of Sentry, who you may have seen in Marvel Snap from time to time. Probably don't have that card. I think it might be a Series 4 card, potentially, but...
oh, shit.
Or Series 5, even. But
is that the one with the person sitting on the roof? Of like the skyscraper?
No.
Or is that the one that spawns the card?
He's the one that spawns the void. The void.
Holy shit! Steven Yeun's playing him.
Maybe.
Spawns the void?
No official word, but yeah, Sentry is like a very high powered character. I don't really know a whole lot about him, but Wikipedia says the character's exact abilities and their limits are unknown and also said to be omnipotent. So he can lift a helicarrier, in one instance is what he's done. He's resistant to Rogue's mutate touch, that's pretty fucking legit. So he's just like incredibly ridiculously powerful.
But he's a mutant.
I don't know if he's actually a mutant exactly. I don't know what his origin is. But I guess there's some sort of like downside to using his powers, which is like
the void.
What the void comes from. Yeah, honestly, there's a very extensive Wikipedia article about his powers and abilities, so might be worth a a look at one point. I'm kind of talking out my ass a little bit because I really don't know enough, but he's got superhuman strength, speed, stamina, agility, reflexes, senses, regenerative, healing factor, energy manipulation, matter manipulation, nigh invulnerability, and the list just goes on. But then when he's the void, he's got negative zone augmentation, molecular manipulation, darkness manipulation, clairvoyance, and death touch. So I guess it's maybe just like his powers can be just really devastating and stuff. And I think, if I recall correctly, the character is sometimes portrayed with, I think, some mental issues, which I think maybe leaves him more susceptible to being villainous or doing destructive things without an actual intent behind it. So there's a good chance that he's the quote unquote villain of this movie with the potential to not be so villainous in the future. It's kind of my speculation. Just again, knowing as little as we know. That said, I'm not really sure how the fuck this team of Thunderbolts matches up against a Sentry, if indeed he's portrayed in the way that the comics seem to build him up as like this ridiculously powerful character. It seems like a team of an out of shape David Harbour and and U.S. Agent ain't gonna do a lot, but they're the underdogs maybe in their own movie. We'll see. I don't really know. We'll find out, I guess. So it's.
We'll see.
I'm excited about the Steven Yeun side of things. We'll see how everything else kind of plays out.
I'm excited
about what they do with whoever he ends up playing, whether it's Sentry or someone else. No, we don't have any confirmation on that. Key role. It's a key role. So anyway,
key role.
We've been here long enough. Why don't we move on? Does that sound good?
We're falling back into the hole of the news.
Well, it's all right. We had a slight conversation, and then we were like, how many fucking powers does this guy have? Nigh invulnerability. Come on, man. Anyway, I think some of the other ones aren't quite as well, I don't want to say as interesting, but don't require as much conversation, perhaps. So this next one is WB. they announced the David Zaslav, everyone's favorite CEO, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO, announced that WB has brokered a deal to make multiple films based on the Lord of the Rings. So we're getting more Lord of the Rings movies. And so this is a very kind of vague announcement of basically an intention to make more Lord of the Rings movies. They're in contact with Fran Walsh, Philippa Boyens, Peter Jackson, I think it sounds like, who obviously were very heavily involved in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Hobbit trilogy. So who knows? Who knows where they take it?
The only person that should touch Lord of the Rings, like we're going to remake Lord of the Rings, the only person that I think I would be hyped for is probably Guillermo del Toro. I would like Guillermo del Toro.
He didn't get to make his Hobbit.
Rings. Could you
let him do something?
He could do the Hobbit straight through. Just one massive
just a
Guillermo
full-on
del
remake.
Toro's. Could you imagine?
I'm gonna do it right this time in one movie. That's right, one movie, Mr. Jackson, one. That would be. I would be super down for that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be.
He's busy doing shit for Netflix because Netflix is wise and is just like, let's just keep throwing Guillermo del Toro some money. Let him do a thing he wants to do.
Whatever he wants to do.
I don't know. I think there's two wrinkles about this that I'm like, well, three wrinkles. For the first and most obvious wrinkle is, honestly, we don't need more of the Lord of the Rings because I think the trilogy really captured that story so well. I don't want to say captured the book so well because I've never read the book, so I can't really say that definitively. But Anna likes the movies and she loves the books, and that's good enough for me. So I don't really know that you can do those stories better than you already did it.
Is it new enough to like warrant a remaking too? I mean, because we are getting older.
I don't think so. I mean, it's a couple decades old at this point, yes, but because I think the difference is they were good enough. So yes, maybe the effects aren't as good as they could be today, but honestly, they hold up pretty well, and those films just in general hold up really well. There's no imminent need to do it again in terms of just capturing that storyline. I think for me, the second wrinkle is just like, what about the TV show that's literally happening right now? That's true. What I mean? Like, isn't it? It's kind of a weird thing. Like I know like the rights are kind of divided in a weird sort of way. So Amazon can make their own TV show that's kind of separated from this. And I know the time period is different, but like they're only using the appendices as their reference material.
It's like WB falls into these trappings all the time.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is just like, oh, we're gonna make more Lord of the Rings, like Lord of the Rings sells, like blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, but you gotta do something interesting with it. Like, I mean, I think Amazon has the right approach of making something interesting out of a different time period, and maybe that's what this is. They're doing that anime movie, the War of the Rohirrim, which sounds kind of cool, like an anime movie, horse lords and shit like that. Like that's kind of cool, but like, I don't know, more live action movies, like, it gets to the point, as we've seen with some other franchises, sometimes with Marvel, sometimes with Star Wars, where it's just like, not everything needs something. Not everything needs another, a movie, a show. Like, not everything needs it, There's something to be said for choosing your projects wisely and not just overindulging just because you can,
Just seems like all the things that we grew up loving continue to get remade and remade and remade and remade.
Sure.
More so than any other decade in existence. Like 90s to 2000, early 2000 stuff is just like, let's just pound that shit home for the next 20 years. Let's just keep making it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Come up with some new shit. But
yeah, I agree. I think for me, and the third and final wrinkle, which is similar to kind of what's going on with Amazon, is this is just the rights for the Lord of the Rings. It's not the rights for the Silmarillion. It's not the rights for anything else, Tolkien. So you're very limited in what you can do, and like I think that would be the answer is if you're trying to do something that's Lord of the Rings adjacent, but you want to get weird and different with it, like get the rights to the Silmarillion, get the rights for these things that haven't actually been adapted before, and do that. That's interesting. I mean, like they did that with The Hobbit, right? Lord of the Rings, they make it super successful. Of course, you make a Hobbit prequel, totally makes sense. They didn't do it very well, but the idea itself was sound. To do a Hobbit prequel, I feel like here it's just like, all right, well, you've exhausted what those rights really afford you. Even Amazon is stretching those rights. with the show. But at least they've already done it. Like they're in the process of doing it. So it's like we've now covered fully the events of the Lord of the Rings. Maybe Tom Bombadil's still on the table. We haven't touched Tom Bombadil, a character that was cut out of the movies in the adaptation format. We've covered The Hobbit exhaustively, too exhaustively, one might argue. And then now we're hitting on the end of the Morgoth era, and the rise of Sauron. And it's like, well, what else is there to cover? Like obviously the world is plentiful, and these characters could be really interesting, but as a proof of concept kind of thing, it's just kind of just like it just feels like they're just going back to the well too many times.
It's the same thing with, in my opinion, it's the same argument that I have with Star Wars. It's the same argument I have with Game of Thrones. You have this expansive universe with everything laid before you. Just
go somewhere interesting instead of
go somewhere
shit we've seen before.
Somewhere different. Just different.
Yeah, somewhere different. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Anywhere. We'll see what happens, I guess.
We'll see what happens. It's so early. It's just really like, we're making a thing. It's like, all right, well, tell me what it is, and then maybe I'll get excited. But right now, I'm just like, this doesn't enthuse me, Come on, man. Exactly. So, all right, we'll move on. We're getting a Pokemon Detective Pikachu sequel.
What?
You ready for that? Portlandia co-creator Jonathan Krisel is in negotiations to direct it, the live-action sequel. First one came out 2019. Ryan Reynolds, Ken Watanabe, Justice Smith, and Catherine Newton starred in it. So we're getting more. Made over $400 million at the worldwide box office. It did not star Danny DeVito, as we all know. But fortunately, something else we'll talk about shortly does star Danny DeVito, and so that's great. At least we get some Danny DeVito in this. I think we enjoyed that Detective Pikachu movie. Would you agree with that? It was like fun, it's solid. Like,
looking
not amazing,
back
but
at
like
it,
enjoyable.
it was so much better than what it could have been. So much better than what it could have been.
I don't know how this works, because I feel like the whole conceit of it was that it was like Ryan Reynolds stuck in that Pikachu's body, but then I think they kind of resolved that bit. So is he going to get stuck back in the body again? What's going to happen there? I don't know how they make that work.
Maybe now they actually cast Danny DeVito.
That's what I'm saying. I think this is a prime opportunity. Ryan Reynolds has been physically separated. You can have just straight up Ryan Reynolds and then put Danny DeVito in the Pikachu body. I think that's what it is. Someone else needs to get sucked into the Pikachu body, and it's going to be a different detective.
Oh,
he's still, he just
fucking Danny DeVito.
Hey! Just make it happen. All right. If that happens, well, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll just be thrilled, is what I'll say about it. So I really hope that happens. But I could see this being kind of fun. It seemed like I thought they were going to do like a bunch of live action Pokemon movies, because it was more than just Pikachu. It had like that fucking stadium battle kind of thing in the arena. And I was like, there's a potential for a really cool like shared Pokemon-averse, and it hasn't really happened thus far, 4 years later. So maybe this is just, another avenue to explore the Pokemon, live action universe. But I had fun with the first one, so I'm down for more.
Yeah.
So a few years away, I'm sure, but yeah, interesting. Cool. Last headline: Daredevil Born Again is bringing back a Netflix alum from the Netflix Marvel Cinematic Universe. John Bernthal is reprising his role as the Punisher. Frank Castle is coming back for Daredevil, which is very exciting. Just started shooting in New York, I think quite literally a couple days ago. It's gonna be an 18-episode first season, expected to come next spring, 2024. He's back. John Bernthal's back, which I think is fucking awesome.
Yeah, you can't
really excited to see more Punisher. So, great. He was fantastic in that role. I am excited to see them embrace aspects of the Netflix universe. Do we need Finn Jones back as Iron Fist? Yeah, maybe not. But
I wouldn't say no.
Redemption, right? It's a redemption arc. Like, let him train, let him get jacked, put him on the Jonathan Majors diet.
That's it.
And training regimen, and you're good. And so, yeah, I'm pumped about this. That sounds great. One kind of note that came in this Hollywood Reporter article is that it sounds like Deborah Ann Wool and Eldon Henson, who played Karen and Foggy, are, as of what we know now, not coming back for the series. So it's not clear whether they recast them or if they're just not involved in whatever story they're trying to tell. But it is kind of odd. They were two very central characters to the Daredevil show. And so yeah, I mean, presumably it still takes place in New York. So what are those two up to? Are they off screen? What's going on? I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. I get kind of the want to pick and choose the things you liked about the old Netflix casting, but I don't know, Daredevil without Foggy and Karen feels weird. So we'll see how they handle that.
Looking back on Daredevil and Punisher, those were two absolutely incredible shows. I just remember looking, I think about them, and I'm very happy they were made. Tempted to almost rewatch them in a drought. You know what I mean? When nothing else is coming out. I'm gonna watch, I think, the Daredevil seasons 1 through 3. I think closer to when Born Again comes around. So a year from now, maybe a little bit longer, something like that. But I love that Daredevil series, all 3 seasons of it. Yeah, it's good stuff.
I think I got a minimum. I want to revisit those. I liked the Punisher series. I don't know if I need to revisit it. I think the Punisher stuff within Daredevil for me might kind of satisfy that, because we got some amazing Punisher stuff within that second season of Daredevil.
Yeah,
so
absolutely incredible stuff.
Yeah, so
good storytelling and cinematography. Great. Oh my god, that one sequence. Yeah. Oof. Yeah. Anyways,
I'm excited to see more Daredevil, and I'm excited to see more Punisher and the MCU proper, I guess, you know what I mean? So that's cool. It's really exciting. Now, on the top news front, which is to say we've got a few trailers to talk about front, we got a couple Disney ones to kick things off. First one is Peter Pan and Wendy. We got a teaser trailer for it. It's coming exclusively to Disney Plus April 28th. It's a Peter Pan reimagining. You may not be able to tell, but it's from the trailer, but it's directed by David Lowery of the Green Knight fame and Pete's Dragon fame.
Oh, man.
So you liked the Green Knight. I liked the Green Knight. Maybe you like Peter Pan, the story. Maybe you're a fan of Peter Pan. Are you a fan of this Peter Pan and Wendy? Can't forget about Wendy.
I think,
does this trailer do anything for you?
Yeah. It kind of got me excited. It looks like it looks kind of whimsical at the same time. It looks kind of David Lowery a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can see.
I like a Disney-fied version of him.
Exactly.
In the same way that Aladdin reins in a Guy Ritchie, so you get kind of a Disney-fied Guy Ritchie, but at the same time you get a merger of some interesting sensibilities, which is kind of fun.
Yeah. You get a David Lowery Peter Pan, which is going to be a beautifully shot, realized characters, and probably a little bit of they're deep characters too, and they deserve to be deep characters. I'm not as up and up on Peter Pan as I should be, but okay. I feel like I know Peter Pan through and through. Does that make sense? If you ask me a question about it, conceptually, I feel like I'm close to Peter Pan. On the details, I don't know.
It's a story that's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Both, I think, in terms of the original story and obviously the Disney classic version of it, which I think everyone's probably seen at least once in their childhoods, kind of thing. Maybe you've gone on the ride at Magic Kingdom or something like that. You just get the Peter Pan sort of thing. I always like that one because that's the one where you I think you fly and has the miniatures of the city and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway.
But you don't want to grow up.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically. Right.
That's the whole thing. Not growing up. So this looks interesting. I like the Lost Boys. Oi! We're the Lost Boys. Well, you're not all boys. Well, that doesn't matter. I think that's funny. That made me laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. What about Captain Hook? I forgot who they had cast.
Was that
when they first revealed him?
Mustache Man from
Yes. Well, I don't know where you're going. I'll let you finish your thought, and then I'll respond.
From the trains.
Trains.
Is that the detective? Death on the Nile and
Hercule Poirot?
Yeah, is that Hercule Poirot?
It is not. It is Jude Law. Jude Law.
That is not Jude Law. No way.
Yeah, and I didn't until there was a close up of his face. I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even recognize him. And I remember, I'm sure we've talked about the casting, but I truly did not recognize him until there was like a moment where I think it was closer to his face, and I was like, oh shit, that's fucking Jude Law.
I couldn't see it. I saw his face in the fucking trailer.
He looks very different. I don't know why. He looks so different. It's like
he doesn't look like a handsome Jude Law.
He doesn't look like a handsome Jude Law. That's true. Yeah, what do they do to this man? But he looks totally different. He's got a Hercule Poirot mustache. So I'm sure that's probably what's throwing you for a loop. But yeah, that's cool. I like that. I like that unrecognizable Jude Law's in this. That's fun.
But the colors and everything seem very David Lowery. He's got rich.
Yeah, it's a bit more muted. Well, I thought the colors were kind of muted. I think overall, I think part of it's just a lot of it just seems to take place at night. I think the non-night sequences I think look a little nicer. So.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of Captain Hook here.
He's got the costumes themselves seem colorful and stuff like that. It seems like I don't know. Certain scenes, I guess, will probably just have a greater emphasis of color depending on I guess what's going on. So I didn't see Pete's Dragon, but obviously you saw The Green Knight. I'm excited to see David Lowery do something with Peter Pan. I think it's obviously it's a classic story, and it seems like an interesting merger of sensibilities. So I'm excited to see what he does with this story, and it's on Disney Plus, so it's really easy to watch it, so it's low risk, potentially high reward kind of thing. April 28th, it'll be streaming. So there you have it. Any other thoughts on Peter Pan and Wendy?
That's all I got
for you. Well then, do you have thoughts on the film which stars Danny DeVito? Amongst others, Haunted Mansion. We got an official teaser trailer for it. This is coming to theaters on July 28th. It's another attempt at Haunted Mansion. No Eddie Murphy this time. Of course, based on the classic ride, the Disney ride,
which they call back to on in the trailer.
That's true. Well, they got the stretchy bit, with the ceiling,
the elevator room.
The walls are stretching. The elevator room.
It looks scary as fuck. I will say.
It seems darker than a usual Disney thing in terms of the level of scares. There's jokes and obviously some of the cast clearly lends itself to being some jokey, like Lakeith Stanfield, Tiffany Haddish, Owen Wilson, Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
That's a jokey cast. You know what I mean? That's a comedic cast in terms of just purely cast, but the visuals and almost the feel of it feels like they're kind of going for it, in terms of it's trying to give you moments of terror, while obviously punctuating that with maybe moments of levity afterwards, because it's Disney, we can't get too dark with it. But I was surprised at how not comedic it seemed for the most of the trailer, and I'm curious to see if the actual film will stick close to that, because I think the ride doesn't make you shit your pants scary or anything like that.
No,
but it's
not
eerie.
At all.
Yeah, it's got a level of eeriness to
that's
it.
That's
and
the
I
correct
think that
adjective.
this seemed like it kind of captured it. I think actually pretty well. I was surprised by this trailer. I thought it looked pretty solid.
At first, I was like, they had the twitching ghost.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, holy shit, this is wow. And then they started introducing the characters and stuff, and okay, the Eddie Murphy one was never scary at all.
No, it was never good either. So
I watched a lot of that movie. I've seen that many, 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 many times. That Eddie Murphy movie. This looks like a far better film, and it does look kind of scary, and it's got the cast to be funny. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Yep. Also got Rosario Dawson, Dan Levy, Jamie Lee Curtis, our boy Jared Leto. He's playing a ghost apparently, so that's fine. That seems like a role that he's probably good at. I'm as a literally 2 minutes after, watching the trailer compared to the 2 minutes prior, I'm way more excited for this film. I think it looks pretty solid. So July 28th, we'll be getting Haunted Mansion from Disney. All right, moving on. 2 more trailers. The Blackening. We got a trailer for a movie called The Blackening. Coming to theaters June 16th of this year. It's kind of I think somewhat satirical horror movie. Basically all black cast. The trailer quite literally starts, and it's the same like tagline of the poster. It's like, if everyone is black, who will die first? Obviously, kind of lampooning the traditional horror movie trope of the black person always dying first.
Yeah.
So they can't all die first is how they put it. Which I think that's a really fun concept for a movie. I think it's Tim Story. Tim Story's directing it. Barbershop, Ride Along, Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. What'd you think? Did you get a laugh or two out of the Blackening trailer?
I did get a few laughs out of the
Okay.
It I don't know if it's something that I'll catch. I don't know if it's something I'll catch in theaters, but
okay.
It looks like something that might be funny to watch. It looks pretty well made.
It looks very entertaining. I like the concept of it. I thought the humor in this was like really, really well done. Whereas I think like Haunted Mansion had like, Owen Wilson's like, they're going to be deader or whatever. I was like, okay, it's not that funny. This I thought was legitimately very funny. The interactions, with they're trying to figure out who's the blackest. I thought that everyone's trying to worm their way out of it. I thought that was very funny.
I voted for Trump twice.
Like they might just kill that man independently. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it looks pretty fun. I think it's a really funny concept. I think it might be based off of a Comedy Central skit on, I don't know if it's just on a show or whatever, but it's the kind of thing that maybe stretched over 90 minutes could be hard, but we just saw Cocaine Bear. If we can see 90 minutes of Cocaine Bear, a very
we can easily watch 90 minutes of that.
Right? We can watch 90 minutes of The Blackening for sure, and I think get some pretty good enjoyment out of it. I thought it looked very funny. Have
you seen Barbershop or any of those?
I have seen seen Barbershop. Yeah, I feel like they might have made a sequel, which I definitely didn't see.
I didn't see Barbershop 2. It's going to make you laugh. It's going to be funny. I know it's going to be funny.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know that we're really totally the target audience here. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I this doesn't look like a movie that, like, I think even white people might get a laugh or two out of it too. Is kind of the impression I got from it.
It seems like a very good movie to go watch in a theater.
I think you could have a good theater experience with this one. I think it feels like the kind of movie, again, like Cocaine Bear, designed for audience engagement to kind of enhance your experience of everyone just really getting into it. Like, it could be really fun. Or you could have an audience experience like it did with Creed 3.
Yeah,
I'm excited. So I'll tell you about that. I'll tell everyone about that shortly. But we got one more trailer to talk about, unless you have other thoughts about The Blackening.
No, looks like a funny movie.
Okay, well then tell me what you thought about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Hey, you see what they did over there? You see what they did over there with Spider-Man? Why don't you guys do that with
Turtles?
Do it with the Turtles. Can you do that?
Turtle time?
Yeah, I think we could do that.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Who do you think we can call to do that? I don't know. We could probably call Seth Rogen. He could probably do it.
Right. Yeah, he produces a lot of shit. So
good on him, man.
Permanent teenager. Self-proclaimed permanent teenager. All right, so definitely some Spider-Verse vibes. I get that. Do you feel like it'll be as successful as it was with Spider-Verse?
No, I don't. But I think it might be the most successful
Turtles iteration.
I think yeah, for sure. It looks like something I'd like to watch.
I got a soft spot for those first two live action ones. I mean,
the one where they go back. I like the one where they go back in time.
That one's definitely the worst, but it's still got its charm. Secret, like they got progressively worse, I think overall. But I don't know. I just those fucking suits and everything. I don't know. I enjoy those live action ones quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm not opposed to a new iteration of Turtles. I feel like it's been a while since Turtles have been in the, you know, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. There's a word for it, but you know, relevance. They don't seem like they've been as relevant.
Oh no, right,
in a long time. So I kind of like this idea of doing a new, you know, riff on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with, you know, a kind of off kilter animation style compared to your traditional 3D animation styles. So
I'll be honest with you, I used to love the live action Turtles.
Yeah. Well, there's some animated shows too.
I don't remember watching them, but I know I did. I will say that out of everything that's come out like in the past decade for Turtles, this one actually it got me pretty kind of excited.
Well, I mean, the last things that we got were the Michael Bay Turtles. He didn't literally direct them, but
I never saw
those were bad. Those were bad. Those were real bad. Designs were bad. CG was bad. Everything was bad. Megan Fox was April O'Neil. That was bad. Just all bad. So I feel like, I guess if the reason they haven't been relevant is because everything that they've put out that's been like on this big budget scale has been bad. So I guess it's not crazy to expect them to be not really that popular anymore. This trailer was a mixed bag for me. I like the animation style. I think it's a little dingy looking in some ways. I think kind of muddled. I think just the actual visual design of it. But I like the Turtles designs. I like that it's a non-traditional style. I think certain frames like look really interesting and work really well, and it does pop in certain ways. But I don't know. The voice acting is a little like Donatello's like 7 for some reason. I'm like, well, aren't they teenagers? Like, why does this one sound like he's 7 and the other ones sound like teenagers? Like, that was weird to me.
He's like,
but it's got a
12.
You know,
he's like,
yeah, but he didn't sound 12. I mean, yeah, I don't know. So for the Turtles themselves, they have basically actual teenagers, or at least close to teenagers, voicing them, which is good. I like that. But all around, it's got a pretty fun voice cast. Jackie Chan is playing Splinter, or voicing Splinter. Seth Rogen is Bebop. John Cena is Rocksteady. Hannibal Buress is Genghis Frog. Rose Byrne is Leatherhead. Ice Cube is Superfly. Post Malone is Ray Fillet. Paul Rudd's Mondo Gecko. Maya Rudolph is Cynthia Utrom. Okay. And Giancarlo Esposito is Baxter Stockman. So
it's
I like
a fucking star-studded
stacked cast. That's what happens when you bring Seth Rogen in. He's got buddies. Calls up his buddy John Cena and says,
"Hey, John."
Hey, John. Oh, that was bad. You want to voice Rocksteady? Yeah, Seth. Yeah. So anyway, not to totally bring back what we did last time, but how much pot was consumed in this?
Much.
All of the pot. All
of the pot. Yes.
They brought out the Pineapple Express joints for this one. But anyway, August 4th is when it comes out. I think it could be very fun. I don't know that it's going to be great. I don't know it's going to be amazing. But I think it has potential to be very fun. So I'll say cautiously optimistic about it. Good voice cast, though, for sure, all around. So I'm excited to see it. See what they do with the story. Seems like there's no Shredder, which is kind of interesting. Like a Turtles without Shredder is
it's the first
rarity.
Movie. Shredder probably comes in at the end.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. You know, there's other villains. There's Krang. Krang's on in this one, but it's got Bebop and Rocksteady. You know, that's good enough. And Genghis Frog.
I like the jamming rhinos in the beginning. Just like fucking hanging on the boombox, just jamming. That's cool. Yeah. It's a vibe. There's a vibe to this movie.
There's definitely a vibe to it. Yep. All right. So I think that does it for the news. Which brings us talking about Creed 3. Ready to square up? Go a few rounds. Talk about Creed 3.
Yeah, we can do it. Let's do it.
You and I might be physically evenly matched because we're both out of shape.
Get one throw in. We both hit each other on the jaw.
We're winded.
All right, dude, let's just talk about it. Let's just use our words.
let's just agree to not do that anymore. Well, Creed 3 was released in theaters March 3rd, quite recently. It is written by Keenan Coogler and Zach Balin, directed, again, in his directorial debut, by Michael B. Jordan. It stars Michael B. Jordan, Tessa Thompson, Jonathan Majors, Wood Harris, Florian Munteanu, and Felicia Rashad. So it's about thriving boxer Adonis Creed, who faces off against his childhood friend and former boxing prodigy, Damian Anderson. Dame. So let's talk box office breakdown. Much to the chagrin of Frank Stallone, it did well, so we got to talk about it. I think it's worth talking about. Box office breakdown. I didn't want to get too low. I feel like it's just going to do bad things for my throat. So let's not do that. Creed 3 franchise record opening $58.6 million, the highest debut ever for a sports movie.
Wow!
So Creed
Big
3
hit.
Crushed it. It should become the highest grossing Creed title. At the end of its run. But yeah, did really fucking well. Absolutely dominated at the box office.
Wow.
With its opening weekend. Internationally has hit about $43 million. So its worldwide take about a weekend is $114 million worldwide, which is very good. Film ran at a budget of $75 million. So all around, I think pretty big success story, obviously for MGM putting it out. Michael B. Jordan coming in hot with a directorial debut, doing as well as this, and for just Frank Stallone, just been crying for 6 straight days. He's just moping. He is a fucking bastard.
God damn it! I look like an asshole.
He's pissed. There's several holes in his wall that he's punched. He is not having it. He is very upset. And Sly's a little upset too, but he's got other shit he's probably working on, so he's all right.
I'm sure Sly's still getting paid.
He's working on another Rambo. He might have the rights to that still, maybe. So yeah, really good, really good debut for it. I think Ant-Man continued to take a pretty steady tumble down the charts. It's looking at around $200 million to finish at domestically, and it might be a struggle to get to 500 worldwide, which is, I think, overall going to be a disappointment. And I think Cocaine Bear had a solid drop, 50-ish% drop, which is pretty good for a movie fucking called Cocaine Bear. So that's kind of the other contenders in there, but obviously Creed was what people came to the theaters to see. And I can tell you right now, before I ask for your thoughts on it, I want to tell you about my experience watching Creed 3, because it was a very bad one. It was a very bad theater experience. The worst theater experience I think Anna and I have had.
Is it better? Oh, okay. Well,
the longest time. Well, what's your comparison point? Like, what comes to mind when I say that for you?
Well, I mean, not necessarily
This is independent of the film itself. I'll say that right now.
My Creed 3 experience was experienced in Zephyr Hills Cinema with intermittent crying newborn.
Oh boy. Okay, so is it worse than yours? Is what the question you're maybe thinking of posing?
Yeah, that's it.
I would say I would take that from the sounds of it.
Wow, what happened?
So, what didn't happen is the real question. No, we saw it Sunday afternoon. We were going to go Friday night. We were just dead tired and just didn't feel like it, so we ended up switching our tickets around. So we saw it like a Sunday afternoon, opening weekend. We came in. This woman was sitting in our seats. It's all reserved seats. We're like, hey, like, you're in our seat. Can you move? Because it was like a sold out theater, close to at least. So that,
oh wow,
everyone's kind of sitting there, and she was just puzzled. She's just so shocked that she could be in the wrong seat, and so she like sat there for like 2 minutes, and we're like showing her our tickets, like nope, this is the number on the seat. I promise you, we can read. This is what it says. So she finally moved. She just moved to the seat next to me, basically.
Okay.
And
thank you.
And there ended up being a couple on Anna's right, and then she was sitting immediately to my left. And so the movie starts, and like it's kind of fine. The woman that was in our seats initially, she's talking to herself the whole fucking movie. She's having a conversation with herself the whole movie.
Wow.
And just the like, and like not like super loudly, but like loud enough that anyone in the vicinity of her is like hearing her talk the whole time.
What was she saying? Do you remember like the things that she was saying?
She was reacting. She was watching the movie. She was having a conversation with herself about the movie, but just like
wow, that's incredible. Wow.
Not even like that. Like it was more full sentences than that. And like, just like not like, like I can't give you a specific example, but it wasn't just like, oh my God, or like, wow. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like exasperations or anything like that. It was just like sentences. Like, I don't know, it's the only way I could put it is sentences. So that was weird. The final fight rolls around. It's not a spoiler. It's Creed. There's a final fight. It's a boxing movie. She starts filming it on her phone, like portrait style, like it's a real fight. And I'm like, this is not real. This is like I don't know what to tell you, but this is not like a real sporting event that you're here to see. The couple to Anna's right. I couldn't hear them. They mostly sounded like a murmur in the background kind of thing. But apparently they were talking the whole time, having a conversation with each other where it sounded like the woman in the couple had never seen any Rocky or Creed movies. So he spent the whole movie explaining everything to her.
Oh, no.
And so she was getting pissed because they wouldn't shut the fuck up. And they were just loudly having a conversation. But so we were getting it on both sides. But I think the bigger thing was that everyone seemed to think it was a real fight. Everyone was treating it like a real sporting event. And so like just the amount of engagement with it was too much, which I realize is the opposite of what I said with Cocaine Bear. Like I was just like, people aren't engaging with this at all. Like no one's laughing, no one's doing anything with it. The world heard me complaining about that and said, you want engagement? Here you go. Everyone's engaged. Everyone's having a conversation throughout this whole movie. Everyone's reacting to this as if it's all completely 100% real. They are at a live sporting event.
Somebody gets punched, they all go, oh, like that?
Yeah, but in like a very dramatic fashion, not just like, ooh, like a light chuckle to yourself. Like it was like unhinged, like just shouting kind of like shit. You know what I mean? I was just like, I don't really know what's happening here. Like I don't like what did we walk into? Why is everyone, and like you go to a baseball game, you go to a football game, like you're going to talk to the people next to you. It was like that. It was like, well, I'm at a sporting event, so I can just talk to people and have open conversations about things, whether they're related to the movie or not. It was just totally bizarre. And I say it's independent of the movie itself, but I do think that the viewing experience was impacted because like I couldn't hear shit sometimes. Or it was just like I'm kind of getting taken out of the moment in some ways where I'm just like,
wow, that's incredible.
Like, why are people reacting to it this way? I don't know. It was not a great viewing environment, and so we basically just like we're just gonna not go on weekends at this point because it just feels like every time we go on weekends, someone can't control themselves. So like people just have no fucking self-control.
People just suck.
Just have to talk, have to look at their phones the whole time. That was another thing. Say there's 20 people in a row, like 10 to 15 people out of any given row were just looking at their phones all the time.
Jesus Christ.
Or using their phones. And I was like, watching it in Dolby, and I'm like these people are paying $20+ a ticket. Like I guess that's pretty cheap for like a pay-per-view boxing fight, but like it's not. It's scripted. I don't know. I was perplexed by the whole thing of it. So anyway, rant over. That was my experience. So yes, I might trade it in for the newborn baby crying intermittently or frequently, perhaps even. I don't know. But either way, none of them are good, I think is probably the bottom line. Your experience probably wasn't great either. But anyway, that's what happened at mine.
My experience, the baby cried, I think, in like 3 parts of the movie. The baby was actually not that bad.
Okay.
The seats are more comfortable. Zephyr Hills has got some comfortable ass seats. I feel like.
Well, you said you saw Cocaine Bear there as well. It sounded like they.
Yeah,
I think you were saying they upgraded their seats. Doesn't sound like much anything else, but
they recline a lot further than the Dolby seats do, and because I think they get used less frequently, I think they're just more plush. They're very nice seats. They're not bad. The problem is this movie would have rocked in Dolby. This movie would have rocked in IMAX. I imagine that this is a movie that you could see in the biggest, loudest format possible, and it would just be an experience. I watched a really good movie. I did not have an experience. And that's just because the theater was lacking.
You weren't at. Maybe that's what it is. If you see it in Dolby and IMAX, it's just so good it feels like you're at a live boxing match.
Maybe that's what it is.
That was totally the impact. That's what happened. Maybe, perhaps.
There was no impact in Zephyr Hills. So
a really good movie, though. You think? What about it did it for you?
Well, Sarah, you bring up the couple who one person in the couple had not seen any of the movie.
That would be Sarah, and in your equation.
Exactly. Sarah had not seen any Creeds, any Rockies, or anything like that. And she said that she was completely captivated by this movie. She enjoyed the love story. She enjoyed the villain. She enjoyed the interactions between the parents and the child in the movie. All of it was very well realized and well acted, and she was 110% about it. She said she really enjoyed the movie, which is really cool. You have the third film in a franchise, and I guess you have a third film in a
third film in a franchise that's a spinoff of a franchise that had 6 films.
Exactly.
So the ninth film.
And she's got no stake in it, and she's coming in on this one, and she says this is very good.
Yeah.
That says a lot. That says a whole bunch.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I think the cinematography was very Fight Night-esque when it came to the fights.
Definitely. Some slow-mo moments, and you get some reverberating, punches,
just the crater
just
face.
Jiggling around. Crater face. Fight Night. What an incredible... Oh, God. Remember that was it round 3 or whatever on the 360? That was
yes.
Hours of entertainment for both of us.
I just completely destroy somebody's face.
Haymaker, RB, Haymaker.
You swing the analog stick.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the analog stick. Yep, Haymaker.
Anyway, I'm sorry. And that's the vibe I got. But beyond that, you have the workout montage, which was incredible.
Some plane pulling.
The physical effort that these two actors had to go, just the things that they had to do in order to put themselves in this kind of shape deserves awards as it is, right? I feel like that should be a category in awards now for the Oscars. Best physical condition, Yeah. Because it is unreal the kind of shape these guys are in when they film this movie. Beyond that, I think the cinematography was really engaging. I think the story was engaging. I think that it lacked on certain aspects, but because it was kind of multifaceted with the relationship between Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson, and then Michael B. Jordan navigating the reunion of Jonathan Majors. I think because it was a multifaceted story with a lot of different characters. I think that it made up for some of its shortcomings with kind of the backstory. We probably talk about that in spoilers, but a huge driving force for this was Michael B. Jordan dealing with his upbringing, and aside from one incident, it was almost largely kind of iced over, it was largely absent. But I felt like it was okay. Right? Even though this one aspect of the story was kind of it was alluded to and it was referenced, The relationship between Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors was, I didn't get a huge tether to them in their youth.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Whereas obviously I can see the conflict between them as adults, and it was enough for them, the conflict as an adult, for me to get it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that the soundtrack was awesome. It was engaging. Everything about this movie was wildly engaging. So I see why your audience reacted the way they did. Kind of envious that I did not get that sense of pumped upness. There are a couple of sequences that even in like the kind of cinema that I saw it in, I did get pumped up about. I did, just the way that they shot the fights was awesome. It was very cool. And yeah, it's very creative. So as a directorial debut, I think Michael B. Jordan understands characterization. I think he understands cinematography. I think he understands editing. And I think he understands how to craft a story very well. I think he did a very awesome job, especially coming into a third film in a franchise that's part of a larger franchise, and you can get people engaged with it. I think that's awesome. I think he did an outstanding job as a director. So kudos to him.
Yeah. I'll agree. I mean, I think for a directorial debut, it's really impressive. It certainly doesn't feel like an amateur effort or anything like that. It feels like it's really just kind of picking up where the franchise left off in terms of just the quality of the filmmaking, and I think injecting some new character to it in terms of the way the fights are shot, in terms of how they're depicted, does feel like a little bit of a departure in some ways from what came before, but not necessarily in a bad way. So yeah, I agree on that front. Really, really impressive stuff by Michael B. Jordan. Great lead performance from him as well. Jonathan Majors is just a fucking force to be reckoned with. I thought he was really, really great in this. Just again, to reiterate probably many of the thoughts that we said on the Ant-Man episode, I'm here for the Jonathan Majors, just, it's not really Renaissance, but I guess just coming out party kind of thing of just him just dominating in terms of just getting some great meaty roles to chew on. And here he's, somewhat an antagonistic character, right? And I think he does that really, really well. So I liked that. So I guess a couple things that I'll say, I think, in terms of just how I felt about this movie. Number one, obviously just reiterating the theater experience, I think probably hindered my overall enjoyment of the film. And so I think that could color some of my overall thoughts, maybe. But I've had a few days to sit on it, and I kind of, I think I got everything out of it that the film offered, I guess, more or less. The other thing is, something that we talked about on the past couple episodes in our catching up sections is Ann and I have been running through the Rocky movies and stuff like that. So when we talked about Cocaine Bear, we had finished through the end of the Rocky franchise, through Rocky Balboa. And so before this, we ended up watching Creed 1 and we watched Creed 2. And I think we literally watched it Wednesday, Thursday. We're going to go see Creed 3 on Friday, ended up waiting till Sunday. So we spaced them out a little bit, but we watched 1 and 2 one night after each other kind of thing. And the things that stand out for me, that first Creed, it's a Ryan Coogler film. The fluidity of those boxing shots, I think, is not matched here. Although this film chooses to do things in a different manner, I don't think it reaches the heights of the first film in terms of how the boxing is shot. That's what I'll say. I still don't think it reaches the height of the first one in terms of the storytelling, just the potency of the storytelling and the performances. Which is to say, having not seen that first Creed movie since I think around the time that it came out, if not quite literally my only time seeing it in theaters, that first Creed is fucking incredible. It's an awesome film. It is the perfect Rocky, Creed, whatever kind of film that there is to be made out of this genre. And I think Creed 2 is a worthy follow-up that's not as good, but was an interesting pseudo Rocky 4 sequel, bringing in the Dragos, and there's a little bit of that kind of carried through into this movie. But one thing that really stood out for me is those are also good Rocky movies. Both Creed 1 and Creed 2 are really good Rocky movies, in addition to being like really, really great Creed movies. This one is Creed standing on his own, no Rocky. And I think that the way they handled that was to not handle it at all, if that makes sense, to just sidestep it entirely. And I didn't agree with that decision. So maybe we can circle back to that in the spoilers and kind of get into it a little bit more.
Certainly, because there's a story there. It pulls. I think that in particular is kind of acknowledged by Adonis's character. I think that the way that he deals with things, it kind of explains why he doesn't talk about Rocky.
Yeah. And one thing that's interesting that to kind of come out of even really just this conversation that we've had thus far is I think that that's the sort of thing where I've just spent, however many days watching fucking a bunch of Rocky movies. And so I walk into this movie like, how are they going to deal with that? And it's kind of just like, they just kind of don't. And it's like, well, that's kind of shitty. Whereas you have someone like Sarah who just walks in, no baggage, no Rocky baggage whatsoever. It has no impact on this movie. You know what I mean? And I think that's okay. I think that's good in some ways that anyone can kind of just walk into this movie and not feel like Rocky's brought up. He's mentioned. It's not like there's just nothing with him, but I think it feels somewhat divorced from the other movies, even within this franchise by excising him. It kind of, I don't know. I think it kind of missed a little bit in my assessment, but again, I think that's with a lot of Rocky recency and my history. I think walking in, which I think kind of colors it a little bit. So,
and I feel like you watch the Rocky films probably at least once every couple of years. I feel like you're very on the up and up on the Rockies.
I don't know if it's that frequent, but Rocky's a fucking Philly legend, so we got that going for us.
Yeah,
we got
a
Rocky
statue of him in the fucking
right by the art museum. So yeah. I thought the other just general thoughts for me. I guess I just thought it was good, but not great. I think it's a worthy contender in the Creed franchise, but I don't think it reaches the heights of the first two for me, having watched them recently. I think that they both offered something a little bit more interesting in this than this. And I liked a lot of what this film offered, and I just found it to be a very good thing, but not an amazing thing. I guess it's just kind of how I walked away from it. Like, I enjoyed it. I'm glad I watched it. It wasn't terribly long. It's under 2 hours. It's kind of breezy. But it didn't have the impact on me the way that first Creed did, where it felt like such a awesome underdog type story, and Rocky's cancer battle through that just felt
man. Lord have mercy.
So it's just, it was just like a heavy movie, but like a triumphant movie. And this one's triumphant in ways too, obviously. But to me, it just never quite put all the pieces together in a super satisfying way. And I kind of feel the same way. I think maybe what you're saying about this backstory between Creed and Dame, you kind of get everything you need out of it just from their adult interactions. You almost didn't need 20 minutes of screen time devoted to everything else around it. Maybe.
It kind of left you wanting a little bit, right?
It felt kind of like a surface level kind of thing where, all right, it's a little bit of an ass pull in that, here's this childhood friend that we've never heard anything about. And so now he's a part of his childhood life, blah, blah, blah. And he's coming back around. And, and I think that kind of makes sense for the type of story that they tried to tell. I just didn't think it was all that impactful. I think why Jonathan Major's character is antagonistic is totally understandable, and I think kind of an interesting story and a kind of an interesting angle. But it just some of it just kind of felt a little half-assed, I think, relative to other aspects of how well the franchise has done it, and how well even Creed has done it. Because Rocky's got some fucking stinkers in it. Don't get me wrong. There's some shitty Rocky movies, and this is not bad. This is quite good. It's pretty good. It just is not. It's not as good as the other Creeds in my estimation, I guess.
And I haven't seen the Creeds in a while. I didn't revisit them or anything. So, but I think that the most rewarding relationships in this movie, the most impactful relationships in this movie are all of Creed's family relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So you have sentimental value between him and his mom. You have sentimental value between the sacrifices that his wife's making because of her health and because of the things that she has going on.
Right.
You have the interactions between like Creed's daughter and her, she sees her dad and her relationships with her peers at school. All of the really impactful stuff was didn't really relate.
Not really in the ring. Yeah.
It wasn't in the ring. And it's interesting because usually the most antagonistic things, at least from what I recall, in the Rocky movies, bring it back to the ring. You know what I mean? And maybe that's the direction they chose to go into with the story. We could talk about it in spoilers, I guess, but maybe
definitely got some spoilerific thoughts to get into, but
maybe I'll pocket that for now.
Okay, yeah,
I'll see if I can bring you around to a more I don't know. I'll see if I can elevate your opinion about the story after we talk about it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. My gut instinct is I would have enjoyed this movie more had I not watched the other movies recently. I honestly feel that way. There's something specific about this, the way that this story is depicted in terms of the timeline that is honestly, it's we'll get into it. I'll leave it at that. But it's odd, shall we say? Okay. I think overall, I don't know. To me, I mean, Creed is such a high water mark for the franchise that it's like really hard to hit that. And I don't think Creed 2 hits those highs. But I felt like it was different enough and good. And this one is different. It's different story. It is developing on the, building on the things that the first two set out, which I think and mostly good and interesting ways. But I actually think that the quality of the filmmaking, although very impressive for a directorial debut, wasn't up to the same level as the others, and I think that kind of held it back. And there's no Ludwig this time, which was disappointing, and I felt like the score was kind of buried for me, and the cinematography was like pretty good, but not exceptional, I guess. Like all it seemed like good enough or very good, but not edging over that line of like, for me, that first Creed movie is like Oscar worthy type shit, and this one was like really good, and I'd probably enjoy it. But I don't know. Movie. So again, I say all that in support of my thesis that I think that having seen this in a vacuum, I think I probably would have enjoyed it more. So, and I think part of what goes to that is these are all the same fucking movie. The Rocky movies are the most guilty of this. It's the exact same fucking movie. 19 training montages. Someone loses early on or whatever, and then Rocky, he's an underdog and he's going to win at the end. Oh, how's he going to win? Well, sometimes it's a knockout or it's really actually never a knockout. Usually it's just going the distance and winning on the score table. But it's the same fucking movie. And honestly, the Creed movies, they're all kind of the same fucking movie too, but with a little bit more variety. I think that the writers, Ryan Coogler, whoever else has been, involved in the story decisions, a little more creativity in the Creed franchise than the Rocky franchise, where it really was just Sly writing and directing and just kind of having that full creative control in terms of what those movies were like. And he's passable as a writer and director is what I'll say. So anyway, shall we do recommendation? I think we're probably about there. In terms of recommendations, we've got go see it in theaters, wait to watch it at home, either for a 4K release, for a streaming release, or wait for someone to pay you to watch it. I think we can safely eliminate the pay to watch it tier
for sure
for this one. So what do you think? Is this a theaters visit or watch?
I think this is my personal opinion is, if I wasn't for example, if I wasn't going to work tomorrow and I had nothing to do, I'd go see it again in Dolby.
Okay.
I would say that go see it in the biggest, loudest format possible. I think it'll benefit from it. I could see from the way certain things were shot, and I could audibly hear where the speakers were just lacking, and where I wanted more. And And the theater that I saw it in just couldn't deliver. And I think that if I would have had those extra, just the extra mile and the equipment that was available to the theater, I think it would have been a much more impactful experience.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's the kind of movie that you want big, loud, and
that's right.
Visceral.
That's right. I mean, you got two people front and center hitting each other, and it's just shot in a cool way, and it benefits from it. But this movie in particular is really, I feel like it's artistic in the way that it shoots its fights, and the way that it kind of like brings the fighters up to the ring and everything else. I feel like those fight sequences in particular must have been a lot of fun to watch in a big format. So, I think it's definitely a large format kind of experience if you can.
Yeah. Having seen it in Dolby, I think as long as you can find a theater environment that is accommodating, I think that's definitely the way to watch it. I know I've probably sounded probably more negative than positive. I think what I'm trying to convey is it's very good. It's just, to me, it just wasn't as good as the others, is really the bottom line. But you're talking about a really good trilogy of films at this point where 1, 2, and 3 are all very good. It's just, to me, in classic trilogy fashion, the third one's just not quite as good as the others. But that said, I think, again, looking at it in an isolated fashion, it's really good. I think it's worth a theater's visit. I think it's a tier above, the watch at homes. I think that this is the kind of film that you want, again, the more pristine audiovisual experience out of it. But I think also just I don't know. It's the kind of film that is more fun to just see in a theater environment.
Yeah.
At least should be. And so I'm glad I saw it in theaters. I wish it was a better experience for me, but it's definitely something that I would do over again in a heartbeat, is seeing it in theaters. I think the quality of the film, it's going to keep you engaged. It's going to keep you entertained. You might be, reacting audibly in some ways here and there when someone gets a pretty vicious hit, at them or something like that. And that's the kind of thing where this film excels, is like really just immersing you in certain things. I think it does that really well. So yeah, for me, I think it's definitely a watch in theaters, despite my reservations and comments otherwise and things that I'll talk about in spoilers. I did enjoy it overall, had fun with it. Enjoyed it, would recommend it. Go see it in theaters. So we got a double go see in theaters recommendation for. There you go.
It's a good recommendation.
So, full spoilers for Creed 3.
Yeah. So there's a lot of references to this guy named Leon.
Yeah.
Which was, I guess, Adonis and what's Jonathan Majors' character's name? Dame. Apparently Dame.
Diamond Dame.
Grew up with this guy. He was the house dad or whatever. I'm not quite sure. But this guy is the reason that Dame got arrested. Mm-hmm. He's like the pivotal character that caused this giant rift between these two guys.
Fracture. And yeah.
And it's largely, he's just a thought. You know what I mean? He's a I don't want to call it, it's not a MacGuffin, but he's like he's the reason that we have the story that we have. And I don't even know I don't know the actor's face. I can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it doesn't, I guess it doesn't matter, but at the same time, if this is the thing that pushes the narrative forward, I would think that he would have a larger presence in the movie. He would be like the first 15 minutes of the movie or something, you know what I mean? But he doesn't, Adonis doesn't want to acknowledge it. And it's like the things that we're exposed to as the audience is Adonis's recollection of these events, right? So he doesn't want to dwell on Leon, so we don't get a lot on Leon, and he doesn't want to dwell a lot on the events, and we slowly see what happens as Adonis chooses to acknowledge the events that happened in his life. And if that's the way that they choose to drive the narrative forward, I understand it. And I also understand why they don't acknowledge Rocky, right? Like Rocky was a major person in his life. Rocky's gone and Rocky's gone. You know what I mean?
But he's not gone. He's just somewhere else.
Yeah.
He's not dead, as far as we know.
I thought Rocky died. Didn't Rocky die?
No, Rocky didn't die. He's still alive. He's still kicking. He went to go visit his son in Vancouver at the end of Creed 2, but as far as we know, he's still kicking. So,
shit. I thought Rocky died of cancer.
No, he survived his cancer. He was fine in Creed 2.
Okay. Well, then I guess I'm fucking wrong. I thought Rocky died of cancer.
No, that would make more sense, as if Rocky had died. The fact that he just doesn't get acknowledged, other than like he was an underdog in that one fight he did against my dad. You know, like that's the only way he gets mentioned is like, remember that underdog thing where Rocky shot from into superstardom? Yeah, and it's like
I thought Adonis just
Rocky's still around,
stuff.
and like it was like Adonis could obviously he's fully capable of having his own crew and training without Rocky and doesn't need Rocky, blah blah blah. But it was just a weird sort of thing, just like I've never heard of Rocky except for that one time where he fought my dad like 40 years ago or whatever, you know.
Yeah, it was a huge thing. So, okay, I digress. I should have rewatched this shit.
All good. I mean, yeah, but if we assume that Rocky's dead, things make a lot more sense. Although,
exactly.
Ways, yeah, but
anyways, so that was the major the major shortfall, I guess, for the story for me was the fact that this guy that causes this rift between these two characters is largely absent in the whole movie.
Yeah. Well, and I think for me, just kind of on that is they just spent so long like dicking around with like what actually happened that by the 19th time that we saw like an element of the flashbacks or like the beginning scene, I'm just like
kids don't get beat like me. It's like, come on, man. What the fuck actually happened? I thought he got molested or something.
Well, I don't think it was quite that, but I think it's basically they just lived at a group home and this guy fucking sucked and beat them. You know, like that's all I got out of it basically. Which fair enough. You know, you're a kid and you see this guy who caused you a lot of trauma and abused you. Like you're gonna beat the shit out of them. Like fair enough.
Okay.
You know, Dame pulls a gun, gets busted, like or whatever. You know, kind of thing. I don't know. I felt it was a little. It wasn't so much the Leon part of that for me that really bothered me so much as it's just like it just wasn't that interesting and it kept going back to it 400 times, you know, and like little
like it just seems like Leon's a major fucking villain. He created this giant divide between these two characters that aren't that bad. They're not that different of people, but Leon and his actions as the real antagonist in this movie, the real person, the real villain between the two people. I guess he just beat him, you know, and I don't know. I feel like if you want to really develop the relationship between Jonathan Majors and Adonis, I feel like you really have to dive deep into like the sacrifices that they made to protect each other in that group home, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think the solution is probably two ways you can go, and this is kind of like the middle ground that doesn't really have a whole lot of resonance. I think one way you can do it is you have more of the backstory that you kind of feel, you know, more understanding of their situation and why it was such a big deal that he responds to seeing Leon the way that he does, why Dame pulls a gun, why everything kind of goes haywire from that point. I think the other version of it is you scrap all of it entirely in the sense that you don't actually see any of those events, and all you hear about is, you know, him talking to Bianca, him talking to Dame about it, or like that sort of thing where like it was so repressed that like we don't even see any aspects of that. All we know is this adult coming back out of nowhere. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? We don't know this guy. I've never seen this guy.
That's a good
before.
point too. Yeah, it's
true.
true.
I think it would accomplish just as much. And Leon is just a name. It doesn't matter who his face is. He's just a name that like, in the back of Donnie's mind,
problems. Yeah.
Both
of their minds
is a big deal. Both of their minds, right? And I think that could have been more interesting. And, granted, it's a movie that's already running short of 2 hours, like that would get it to closer to 90 minutes kind of thing. And so maybe it's a little too light in that way. But I think that none of it really added enough to feel super, super worthwhile. Like, I don't think you needed to start the film there. It wasn't that interesting of a starting point, I think, overall for me.
It's interesting because all the emotional resonance that you get in the movie is like him and his mom. That was huge. That brought me to tears. I really felt that. The performances in the loss of his mom, and with his with Tessa Thompson and her, her mother-in-law, just that loss in general just hit really, really, really hard. And it's just interesting that you can get like the resonance that you get with the mom, and then the resonance that you get with the daughter, like when she chooses to, punch that asshole in the face, at her school.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And like the ramifications of all that, and how she sees her dad, and just there's a lot of connective tissue between all of the characters in Adonis's home life. And just seems like the main pivotal thing that they keep driving forward with Adonis is this guy. And there's like, man, the connective tissue is a stretch, right? Like you can't really, in that sense, it feels like it falls short, because like if you really wanted to make a movie, you could just make a movie about Adonis dealing with like quitting boxing and like his wife who is having hearing issues, and then daughter that's deaf, and just have like a family drama movie. You could totally do that.
You don't need him stepping back into the ring at any point.
No,
to achieve
it's
the
a really
same
good movie. Exactly.
Results. Yeah. No, I think that's fair. Probably less exciting. Probably my audience would have been half as large if that were what the movie was. But yeah, no, I agree. I mean,
that's where the movie was at, though. That's where the movie was at for me. Yeah, there's some cool boxing sequences. Don't get me wrong. It was cool. It was engaging. But the movie for me was an emotional movie based off of those relationships. And I thought that was interesting. I thought the bulk of the movie was told with those people versus the Jonathan Majors character, who was a total unit in the movie. He was a beast.
Well, the thing is, I agree with you in the sense that I think all the family stuff was obviously a very big part of this film, kind of what really drove the emotionality of it. Some of it worked. I think the stuff with him and Bianca really worked well for me.
Yeah.
The stuff with this kid, I think, was good, but somewhat unresolved, I felt like.
Sure. Yeah. Feels like there's more there.
And right. And so maybe that's deliberate. The stuff with his mom, I think, I don't know, it was fine for me. It kind of just felt like they were just pulling out the Rocky playbook again of the quote from Creed 1 of, a father type figure, or, obviously literally his sort of mother, not his literal mother, going through, bouts of illness and stuff like that. So it's kind of just like, all right, like we're already getting on the same beats here, except I guess this time she actually died, whereas Rocky did not actually die.
I just mean the death. The death sequence was,
and like that. I think that was a kind of good, like
hard.
come to Jesus moment for him, where that leads him to really talk to Bianca and actually open up, because he spent so much of the film to that point just closing everything out. And,
I'm fine.
It's okay. I'm good. I'm like classic toxic masculinity type shit of, like, oh, I'm not going to open up. Like, I can fucking deal with my own shit. I don't need your help. Like, I don't, whatever. And I think it was a really good, interesting dynamic between him and Bianca, where she's like, I'm your fucking wife, dude. Like, talk to me, like these are the kind of things that I'm like here to help you with. I thought all that stuff was I think it was handled well. And I think the overall resolution of that, I think was pretty satisfying. The things that I liked about him and Jonathan Majors, again, like, I kind of go back to this idea of I didn't really care about when they were kids kind of things. But I thought that their interactions together, like two of them are just such great actors. The two of them just talking about shit that like what happened when they were kids, like
it was enough.
Like I didn't need to see it. Like that was interesting. Like that to me, like I got all the meaning out of just the dialogue and the interactions between them, and then the stiltedness of certain things. Like when they go to the diner or whatever, and and
like, they do the same thing with the straws.
Yeah, and like clearly there's a kinship, but Creed is like he's fucking mega millionaire kind of thing, and so he's just like, oh, here's they would just pull out a wad of cash from my wallet. I'm like, here you go, man. He's like, I don't need your fucking handouts. Like that. That's the kind of thing where like that was interesting. Like seeing the differences in those two characters was really, really interesting to see. And I liked all of that, how that was done and portrayed through the characterizations and the dialogue, and then obviously literally taking their disputes a step further as the film escalates and as their conflict escalates to the eventual boxing match. I think that was all pretty well done. I just like the literal backstory of it just was kind of a waste of screen time that wasn't.
It felt conflicted, right? Like either you're going to commit to it or you're not going to commit to it.
Yeah. So in terms of go ahead. I have a rant saved up on me. So let me know when you're ready for it. I don't want to just unleash it on you when you're not ready.
The last thing that
what else you got?
I think that I have to really say is the Russian guy that he did the training montage with. That was the villain of Creed 2, right?
Correct. That's the son of Ivan Drago from Rocky 4.
Right. And that dude is fucking enormous.
Yeah.
He's fucking huge.
Ridiculous.
Just a big badass guy.
Well, there's a point to be made about what the fuck is a heavyweight, because the guy that that Dame beats in like the fight in the middle of the movie, that guy's not a heavyweight. He's just literally not a heavyweight. And it's classic thing. A lot of the Creed movies have done this, of casting real life boxers as like boxers within the movie. That guy's a welterweight. Like he's just not like
he has to be, right?
Yeah,
the Mexican guy. You talking about the Mexican dude? Yeah,
exactly. Him. And like I'm sorry, there's no world in which
Jonathan Majors
to fight Drago. Or even Jonathan Majors.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Jonathan Majors is 200 plus pounds. That guy is 140 pounds, 150 pounds max.
Poor
like the weight difference alone. Like,
he's going to beat the fuck out of that guy.
One good swing, one good connection from Jonathan Majors, and that guy he has brain bleeding. You know what I mean? Like, no way. No fucking way.
It's a real fight night kind of situation.
Yeah, but it's silly shit. Like okay, it's a movie, it's fiction or whatever, but I'm like, they're trying to convince me this guy's a heavyweight. I'm like, nah.
He's got to convince me that Drogo guy's got to fight Michael B. Jordan. He's like 3 foot taller than him. He's huge.
Yeah, and like that was kind of the point in like both Rocky 4 and Creed 2 is like Rocky is just so undersized, or your Creed is just kind of undersized compared to him. But like, at least your starting point with like Michael B. Jordan is like, well, he's actually 6 feet tall and he's pretty fucking built. So like he's probably 200 pounds. Like he's probably conceivably a heavyweight. This guy, no fucking way. Just no way. But anyway.
Yeah. So, I forgot what I was going to now. To be honest with you, the Drogo.
I'm sorry.
The Drogo was fucking. He was a fucking large dude. He was
a very large man.
Obscenely large. Yes. Well, if it comes back to me, I'll remind you.
Just interrupt me if it comes back to you, because I don't know that you actually quite got to the point of making the point, so I don't know that I'm able to remind you.
I never got that far. I just
when I go back and edit this, I might. Was that the whole point, or is that where that you just got sidetracked?
I think that's where I just got sidetracked. It's like that fucking guy was huge. Like, why is he fighting that guy?
That's a mammoth of a man. I'm gonna go back in the edit. I'll probably realize, oh, that's what he was trying to say. But here we are now. So what's your rant?
Tell me about
your rant. I can't do that now. So my rant, I'll try to keep this as concise as possible, which I'm a lawyer, so what are you going to do? It's going to be 30 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. I'll try to keep it more concise than that. This is something that's symptomatic of, again, having watched the other Creed films quite recently. And I'll preface this by saying, well, I'll say my major issue is the timeline of this movie really makes no fucking sense. And I'll preface that statement by saying the Rocky franchise is infamous for having timelines that make no fucking sense, which is to say that Rocky 4, he goes and fights Drago in Russia at the end of the movie for like a few months. He trains for a few months, fights Drago, wins, goes back home. His kid is somehow 5 years older, as if he's been in Russia for 5 years, which is literally not true. Because when he goes home, he's got bruises on his face from the fight. So it's just like one of those things, just like it literally makes no goddamn sense. And it's like, okay, so the Rocky franchise, bad at timelines. All right, whatever. Creed franchise, I think, has been pretty good thus far.
Except what happened?
Well, so the thing is, basically, my understanding, and there's an easy solution for how to undo all of this and make it seem okay, but it's just not. It's not what it seems like it has done. Up until this point, the understanding has been that the first Creed movie, present day stuff, takes place in 2015, which is when that movie came out, which I think is fine. Not everything's good. Creed 2 is presumably a couple of years later, 2-3 years later, 2018-ish roughly, which is when that movie comes out. Like, it seems like usually the present day stuff roughly corresponds with when the movie comes out.
Okay.
So here there's a moment where it says present day and you think 2023, that makes sense. Cool. No big deal. The problem is the movie starts in 2002, has a title card that says 15 years later, which means that it's 2017, and then there's dialogue within the movie that says 3 years later, which means that the movie's present day is 2020. So
pre-COVID.
Inherently, that takes a little bit of a problem, because pre-COVID is, all right, so all of this must take place within March and or January and February, because otherwise none of this shit actually happens because of COVID. So obviously, this is probably a 2020 in which COVID doesn't happen. It's a fictional movie. That's not a big deal. No one really, whatever. It's a pandemicless 2020. I think that's okay for a fictional movie. That's not really what my issue is. My issue is that if the first movie takes place in 2015, the events of this movie make no fucking sense. The 2017 events of this movie make no fucking sense. So the 2015 movie, within the span of that movie, he meets Bianca. They form a relationship.
Okay.
Great. At the end of the 2015 movie, which maybe takes place in 2015, he fights Pretty Ricky Conlon, who's the British guy who's an asshole, blah blah blah, and he is like the big reason that Conlon takes it is it's going to be like a marquee matchup against Creed's kid, and it's an easy payday for him, and he's about to get sentenced for 7 years for like illegally having a gun in Britain. So he's about to be sentenced for 7 years in 2015. Well, this movie takes place in 2017. It picks up in 2017 after the opening scene, and he's fighting Pretty Ricky Conlon for the second time, who's newly released from his sentence. So his 7-year sentence has become less than 2 years at this point. Okay, that's not impossible. That's sort of fine. But also, it's Adonis's final fight in his entire career, which has lasted 2 fucking years, which makes no sense. And the reason that makes no sense, and I looked it up, is like average heavyweight boxing career is like 20 years. Okay, Adonis started late. He's going to end earlier than some, but he's still fighting for at least 5 years. Like, at least 5 years is probably the bare minimum for that to make any sort of sense, for him to have a career where he's fighting.
Quite the dive, dude.
He's having two fights against Conlon between 2015 and 2017, assuming this timeline. But within that timeline, he's also fighting one guy in the beginning of Creed 2. He's fighting Drago in the middle of Creed 2. He's fighting Drago again at the end of Creed 2, which means that all of that shit fucking takes place.
Drago fucked him up big time too, right?
Yeah, that first fight against Drago, he gets hospitalized and like he's out of commission for months. So like there's a big time jump between like even those 2 Drago fights. So this is such a compressed timeline where he's gone from 2015 first big fight to multiple Drago fights to his final fight. He's hanging up the gloves. He's retiring like in the span of 2 years. Makes no goddamn sense. None of that checks out. The bigger issue, I mean, you could say it's a really highly compressed timeline, blah, blah, blah. That's okay. The bigger issue is that in Creed 2, Bianca gets pregnant. She gives birth to Amara, which I don't know if you know how pregnancy works. You might have some idea of it, I might guess.
Yeah.
It usually takes roughly 9 months for little babby to
the bun in the oven to pop out, to be done.
Bun in the oven to actually be popping out. That usually takes roughly around 9 months, give or take, a little bit of time perhaps. But So there's at least 9 months that we know happen within the events of Creed 2, from Babby being conceived to Babby being born. And so that kid, again, assuming the 2015 timeline, must have been born in probably 2016. Realistically, just 2016 is the only way that's the only year the kid makes sense to be born. So 2017 jumps to 2020. Are you telling me his daughter is fucking 4 in this movie? Like, no fucking way. No way. That kid's 7.
There's got to be some Kang shit going on. You know what I'm saying?
So there's some Kang shit, or some people didn't really think about any of this shit, is how I feel about it. So there's probably other things that I miss, like that I'm not remembering as clearly. And so the only solution that I can come up with, and I think it's still a retcon, but it could work, is that Creed, the first Creed, cannot take place in 2015, must have taken place in an earlier year. Such as 2013. We know it takes place after 2012 because Rocky visits the tombstones of Adrian and Paulie, and Paulie died in 2012. So it at least has to take place after 2012. So that, at a bare minimum, is what happened. The only thing I can't remember is if the first Creed actually establishes it's 2015 where anything takes place. I think, obviously, I'm working on this assumption that, it seemed like everything kind of did take place 2015, 2018 kind of thing. So now it's just like, oh, actually, all that was wrong. That was wrong, so ignore that shit. We didn't actually say a title card, so ignore that shit. Now everything's a year back, or 2 years back. And I'm like, why? Just set the shit in 2005, in 2020, in 2023. There was no reason to do any of this. Even if that is the cleanest solution to it, fucking why? Why would you do that? Why would you make 2020 your present day? Why would, of all years to choose as your present day in your movie that comes out in 2023, why would you choose 2020? It's just bizarre shit. And to me, it feels like a Spider-Man Homecoming situation where there's that whole opening sequence, and then it says 8 years later. And then later on, everyone was like, yeah, it was actually more like 5. Eight's just wrong. Sorry. That was basically the solution. We made it jump too far. We wanted an excuse for why Michael Keaton's daughter was having drawings of 5-year-olds.
Fuck it, make it 8.
She actually should have been 8 or 9 at that point. Just
fuck it, make it 8.
Anyway, that's my rant of how the timeline makes no goddamn sense. And yes, it's consistent with Rocky timelines making no goddamn sense in the first place. But Creed, the Creed franchise is better than that. Okay, it's better than that.
I am absent from all of that. I don't know any of that. It sounds completely ridiculous that that's what they'd want to do. I don't know any of that. Yeah. So,
I mean, it's funny. I thought I read the title card wrong because when I looked this up after the movie, it said in 2005, Los Angeles, a young Adonis Creed is how it started. The Wikipedia summary is like, oh shit, I just can't read. It said 2005. And then I sent something to Anna. I texted her, and then she looked and she says, no, it says 2002. And I looked in the history of Wikipedia. Someone had edited it from 2005 to 2002. And so I was just like, oh shit, so it was 2002. And I'm like, wait, are there multiple versions of this movie where someone fucked up the title cards?
No, it's just Wikipedia being Wikipedia.
It was probably someone like me saying, 2005 makes more sense. I'm just going to assume that 2002 was wrong, and they just, because the 5 and the 2, they're like, if you look at the number pad, one with 5 right above the 2,
right underneath, dude.
They hit the wrong key. That's as simple as that. No one noticed it because they're just like years. I don't even know how that works. Time. It's irrelevant. It's a flat circle. Is what they said. Who cares? No one's going to care about that. But anyway, I fucking care is the answer. I care deeply about this shit, and it makes no sense unless you want to tell me that Creed 1 takes place in 2013. In which case,
I'm pretty sure there was a title card in it that said 2013. I think November 2012 is actually what it said whenever he went to visit the gravestone and read the newspaper. By the gravestone of Paulie.
Well, it says Paulie died in February, I think is what it said, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out. Wikipedia for Creed 1 says 2015. So that's what I'm working on. Clearly everyone
edit
thought...
edit that Wikipedia. Make it right.
Maybe I will. The Creed 2 Wikipedia says it takes place in 2017, which, again, literally makes no sense because that's the same year in which he has his final fight against this guy who got released after his sentence of a year and a half from 7.
Who was the guy that broke the hand? The hand of Drogo.
Oh, well, that was Jonathan Majors' prison buddy.
Well, I know. Is there any?
No, he's just
some dude,
prison buddy.
Okay.
He's just some dude that he served time with. You know, manipulate events so that I can get my title shot, kind of thing. Which I gotta say, I think it would have been more of a twist.
That's fucking king shit, dude.
Well, it would have been more of a twist if Jonathan Majors didn't have anything to do with that, and he just happened to get a title shot. I'm like, this motherfucker is bad news. The whole movie, like, this guy's bad news. You know, not just because he's a convicted felon, blah blah blah, or whatever. Like, this guy's fucking bad news. Like, he's in it for himself. He doesn't give a shit about, you know, Donnie. You know, and obviously there's some resentment and some bitterness over how things went down. But anyway, I was just like, random guy shows up at this record party and just breaks this guy's hand who's about to have a fight. That's not at all suspect. I wonder why that happened. I wonder who could benefit from such an arrangement.
Maybe it's Kang.
Maybe it's Kang.
I am Kang. I love that quote. It's my favorite.
Anyway,
Jonathan fucking Majors, guys.
Thoughts? He's great.
That's all I got.
Right, I know I've ranted. I've always said, again, I feel like I'm getting negative with this movie.
He does the opposite. Not to cut you off. He does the opposite of
he's
Homeboy in Mission Impossible did like the punching fist.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Jonathan Majors does this thing in this movie where like he puts his hands up to the sky and then brings them in, and he does like this, where he just like draws it in.
He's centering his gravity.
Yes, and it's when you're a unit, it's fucking cool.
He is an absolute unit. There's no doubt about that.
He's a big fucking guy. That guy.
Oh man.
Again, it's all like
so much brain bleeding.
And it's funny because during the workout montage, they got Michael B. Jordan. He's doing his training and he's like dancing around. He's pop 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 pop, just punching people and just tapping. Boom 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 boom. He's working on his focus. Jonathan Majors' workout montage is just knocking the fuck out of people. They're just constantly dropping on the mat. Just boom, dropped. Boom. You know, and that's kind of the if I had to have one critique about this movie, just one thing, because I did enjoy it. I thought it was a lot of fun. That major fight was kind of like a major letdown. And a little,
I agree. Like the final fight, you mean?
Yeah. Like every
totally
other major
agree.
fight with Michael B. Jordan just takes a beating and then he comes back at the very end and wins, right? He just goes the distance. And this movie kind of felt like he kind of had the upper hand at the end fight. Like you get that one stomach punch where he gets the wind knocked out of him, but then he comes up, and then when he comes up, he just picks apart Jonathan Majors. He just picks him apart because he's untrained and this and that. And that didn't feel it. Jonathan Majors never really felt like a major threat to Michael B. Jordan.
I actually, I would agree with that. And I mean, I think like realistically, he probably shouldn't have been. Like it felt like the reason that Jonathan Majors won that heavyweight title fight with the Mexican guy was that he fucking fought dirty. You know, he kicked him, he elbowed him. He messed him up pretty good and then finished him off once he got a couple of good blows again. Yeah. You know? And so it kind of felt like, all right, well, if he's not going to pull that shit, like what does he have? Like, he's a big fucking dude, but he's raw, you know? And like, he might he might clock you pretty good, but if you're a skilled fighter like Adonis is, and even though he's like old and busted or whatever in this movie, I'm like, whatever. He's like, he looks fucking exactly the same as he did in the other ones.
He looks
like
fine.
Yeah, I'm like, they're like trying to treat him like he's Rocky, like he was 60 years old.
Rocky Balboa. That motherfucker doesn't look busted. He looks great.
I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. You know, that sort of thing was a little silly, but. And also Dame's like fucking 40 years old too. So like they're both old and busted. You know what I mean? Like if we're going to go with that definition of old and busted, AK ripped and on the cover of Men's Health magazines and whatnot, like fuck off.
Fuck off. Yeah.
I kind of, it did to like, it didn't really feel like Dame was really going to be like a big duel for him. I mean, it was more personal than it was Like it was a personal duel more than it was like a boxing challenge, right? Like they almost had to make him like seem old and busted to make it seem even slightly conceivable that Jonathan Majors would put up a fight.
Leveraged into him being old and busted, right? Like have him bust into the side of his face. Just a real heavy hit, you know what I mean? But he didn't bust him up too bad.
No, I thought it was a letdown, honestly, for other ways. I felt like I didn't love the way that it was shot. So what I liked was that the other fights in this movie had like the Sherlockisms. Like especially that first fight we see, you see like where he's targeting on the guy's body. He's almost observing
it was really
like,
cool.
The pattern of the flurry of blows, and he's like, all right, I see what he's doing. I see what he's doing in this round. I lost that round, but I see what he's doing in the next round. He does the same thing again, and I take advantage, and I fucking this body blow that just knocks this guy to the turf. Like that was cool. I really liked that, and I felt like we got a little bit of that, but then none of that in that final fight. It was just kind of like
you only get the one sequence of him like having the gap in his head, like his face
and I just didn't think it like it kind of felt like it dropped that angle of him being a strategist about like how he did it, and it was just like, well, I'm just a better boxer than this guy. Like, of course I'm going to beat him. Like this guy's raw and like he's going to make mistakes, and I'll just beat him around like when I get an opportunity. Like it didn't feel like it was a surgical takedown in the way that some of those other ones were, and I think. I don't know, Michael B. Jordan was talking about before the movie came out, like, he's like, well, I made some anime influences, when I was making some of these fights. And like, I think when it pulled away from actually being an actual boxing match to being the, empty stadium, like it did a few things, like turned the ring into like a prison cell kind of, I don't know. I thought that was pretty corny for me. I didn't really like that. I thought that was too on the nose of, like, I don't know. I think there's a way to drown out the crowd noise, get rid of the crowd, kind of do a sort of empty, focused in on it thing. Like some of the other Rocky movies have done stuff like that. I didn't think it worked for me.
When you talk about that particular thing, I think that it wasn't quite apparent on what character those sort of feelings about like being punched up and falling against the prison cell. It wasn't apparent enough of what perspective that's coming from.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so I understand like the visuals of what's happening on screen.
Yeah.
And I think that's good. I think I don't think that's a bad direction to take it in, even if it is on the nose. I think it could be done well.
What I will say is it's very different from anything that we've seen in Rocky or Creed, and that it was fresh. It was different.
Oh, but at the same time, I didn't think it was not done clearly, and not done. It wasn't done deliberately. It was kind of out of left field,
right? And it was the first time that happened. Like it was totally different than the way everything else was shot. And it's like okay, I got this idea. Let's throw in these gel cells. Okay, all right, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of wonky, just the way it was implemented. I didn't think it was... I didn't love it. I mean, again, they tried something different, and it wasn't just the samey shit. But I tell you what, man, you watch that first Creed again, not only is it a vastly superior film, look at the way those fights are shot. Like, it's like there's a cameraman in there with them just, like, kind of moving the camera around, like, rotating around. There's just such a fluidity of how everything is shot, and everything feels like there's force behind every blow. Ryan Coogler he's a fucking filmmaker, man. Like, and no disrespect to Michael B. Jordan. It's a really interesting thing, and the guy loves anime, and he wanted to make some anime fights, and like, good for you or whatever. But no one has touched how Ryan Coogler shot those boxing matches.
I'd be interested to revisit it
in that first Creed. Streaming on Amazon Prime, 4K. Check it out. Creed 2 as well. Creed 2 is good, not as good, but
thanks Bezos for that paycheck.
That's right. Yep. Appreciate it. Cutting off 0.000000001% of your life savings for us. That amounts to roughly $1 million, in case you're wondering. Yeah, that's probably
all I got.
I have for it. I think. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Wish it was. I wanted to like it a little bit more, but I think it's a worthy. I think it's a worthy contender. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think someone like yourself, someone like Sarah, anyone that likes these kind of movies, hasn't seen the other Creeds, I think you can go in without watching the other ones and still. I think it's pretty self-contained to its credit. I think it works probably again better as a self-contained sort of film than it does as one that's not as self-contained, I guess, so to speak. So before we fully move on to catching up, the last conversation I wanted to have was basically talking with you about the future of the Creed franchise. Like, where do we go from here? Because an article came out on Deadline.
What?
About Michael B. Jordan spearheading a Creed verse with Amazon. And so I want to throw some of these things at you and see if these are things that are interesting for you, or not interesting for you, I guess, perhaps. So Creed, obviously, Creed 3, wildly successful, really, really, great box office numbers as we talked about, and Michael B. Jordan obviously having a very successful run at it as an actor, as a director here, and so basically, he and Amazon are cooking up, where do we take this franchise in the future? So I'm going to give you kind of the things that it sounds like are in the works for the future of the Creed franchise, and I want to hear if they're something that sounds interesting to you, or, like, what do you think? So they're talking about doing an anime series related to the Rocky spinoff. Okay. What do you think about that? A full-on anime series? Is that anything that might interest you without any sort of other details around it? Rocky anime, Creed anime?
I would have to get some sort of article saying that it's awesome for me to really want to dive in on it.
What about a live action TV series within the Creediverse? The Creediverse? I don't know. What do you think? TV show? Thinking about TV show spin-off TV show potential here?
I guess maybe. I don't.
Would you center it on? Who would you center it on? If you had to pick a single, maybe we'll get a Leon spinoff that will feed into Creed 3, and it'll give you all the payoff. It's a spinoff about their time in the foster home. Maybe that's what it is.
How
a group home.
Jonathan Majors guy becomes a Golden Glove in the midst of being in a foster home.
Yeah, or it could be Jonathan Majors' time in prison, where he's in boxing shape the whole time, and there's a whole boxing ring within the prison.
I don't think Jonathan Majors has time, though. I don't think he has time. I don't think we'll get Jonathan Majors.
He's doing 80 other Marvel movies and probably some indie projects.
If I got a Jonathan Majors in prison, refining his boxing skills and learning how to like fuck up someone's shoulder and punching arm and shit, because that's what he did. He picked him apart. It was actually pretty cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If we get those prison skills brought out on screen, that might be pretty cool.
You'd watch that? Okay. How about a potential project centering on Adonis Creed's daughter, Amara? What do you think? Does she need her own film now?
No.
She's a fighter, though. Come on.
Yeah.
I think an aged up version, like if we're talking like 10 years down the line and Michael B. Jordan is hanging up the gloves. Yeah.
Right?
You can get one of these too.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
And as was previously announced, they're doing a Drago spinoff with both Dragos, Ivan Drago and his kid.
Man,
for that. That was the one that Sly was like, fuck off. It was upset about that. So yeah, that's 4 projects right off the bat that Michael B. Jordan and Amazon are like, let's do this. Like, we're fucking full steam ahead. What do you think? Is there more franchise potential here? Yes, this is a spin-off of a very successful franchise, but do you need more?
I'll take my movie every 5 years. That's enough.
Right, and then of course this is all in addition to the inevitable Creed 4, 5, and Adonis Creed, because they'll follow the titling scheme of the Rocky franchise.
That's when it goes to the next person.
So I gotta say, I don't need any of that. I'll take Creed 4. I think, honestly, the film sets it up in a way that I think Creed 4 doesn't really make any fucking sense because he retired in 2 years for some reason. And he's old and busted. And he only comes out of retirement for personal confrontation. So I'm not really sure what you do with the Creed 4. Of like, how many... And like, that was a classic Rocky thing, too, of Rocky's old and retired. And like, how many fucking times is he going to come out of retirement?
Personal confrontation. Fuck it.
Like, it's okay for them to not be retired. Like, they can just fucking be boxing, man. Like... I don't know, man. Like, just some of the storytelling decisions. I'm just like, why are you going here? Like, and I almost
piss me off. I'm coming out of retirement for you.
Yeah, and it's like they've now set it up that every movie has to be that. Because I'm a family man, I've got a kid to take care of, and my dad died in the ring. I'm not going to do that, so I'm only going to get involved when it like really means something to me. Which means that, I don't know. I really, really like the Creed franchise. I realize it doesn't sound like it a lot. Well, it sounds like I really fucking loved the first Creed and maybe the second one too, and I didn't love this third Creed. And I liked it. I didn't love it, but I just kind of feel like, we'd spent so much time talking about fucking Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Marvel, in the news section, and I'm like, don't do it here. Don't do it here. We don't need it. We don't. But
they do it here.
Anime.
They do it
we don't
here.
Need a spin off on her daughter and his daughter. Like we don't. I don't need any of that. None of that sounds interesting to me. I can't imagine I'm the only one that thinks, really,
no,
fucking
you're
Creed
not. You're
anime.
not. I don't need a Creed anime.
I'm not mad at Michael B. Jordan. Like my dude. Like you're a very successful, handsome, talented man who's fucking jacked as fuck. Do whatever you want. If Amazon is going to pay you millions of dollars to work on this shit, and you love doing this shit, by all means, do you do you.
But I don't need it.
I just don't think I'm going to be here for it. Is how I feel about it.
It's totally fair.
I'll be open to being convinced otherwise, but I don't know. Anyway, I think that might actually do it this time for Creed 3. So, let me kick it over to you. What you been up to on your end since we recorded last? Since we cocaine bared.
I have been playing a game called God of War. Ragnarök.
Oh, have you now? Well,
Yep.
This is the first time I'm hearing about it. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so how's it going in God of War? You've been putting some serious hours into it, or just kind of meandering along?
Hours. Like tonight, I played an hour when I got home, and that was pretty cool. It's pretty. It's a pretty spectacular game.
Nearing the end, or you still got quite a journey to go, as far as you can tell.
I don't think I'm as thorough.
Has there been anything that resembles what actually Ragnarok is? The destruction of all things. Because I think if you haven't reached to that point, then you're probably good.
Yeah, no, we're probably pretty good. I think that I'm not as thorough as I could be, but I'm pretty thorough. So I think I've got a good amount of hours into it, but I'm not quite there. I think I'm in probably the last.
Past the halfway point, maybe.
I feel like I'm at 75% of the story left. Is what I feel.
75% left or 25%? Like you're 75%.
25% left. I'm 75% through. I think it's pretty good. Mandalorian kicked off last week.
That's right.
We are
two episodes out now. I think the second one came out yesterday.
That's right.
I watched the first episode. Did you watch the second one as well, or are you just?
I'm 2 episodes into the Mando.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you that the Mando is Andor, but what I will tell you is Mando's badass.
It's same as it always was, right?
Same as it always was. So the saying that we use, I think, is you give me some badass shit, I'm okay. Just show me some cool stuff.
I think the real saying is this is the way. But
this is the way.
That works too.
I just want some cool stuff. I don't want it written poorly. I want it written okay. I want it consistent with the universe it's told in. And just give me some adventures, man. Just give me some stories. And I think one of the best things, one of the coolest things is at some point within either the first or second episode, Pedro Pascal says, "Are you ready for an adventure?"
And you said yes.
I said yes. I said yes out loud. Yes, that's all I fucking want. Give me an adventure every Wednesday. I'm showing up, dude. This is the coolest, most awesome thing I could ever ask for. I just want to go on an adventure every Wednesday. That's all I want. I want to leave my mundane life of selling cars and finance, and I want to go on an adventure through the universe. That's all I want. You can't ask for more than that. It's perfect. I also, on a side note, love all the publicity Pedro Pascal's been getting because of The Last of Us.
Last of Us, yeah. Plus Mando. Plus just being a very charming and handsome man.
He was in that fucking Nick Cage movie.
Massive talent, unbearable weight of massive talent.
I haven't seen it yet. I really want to see it just based off the memes. But there's this meme of like Nicolas Cage riding in a car next to him.
Yeah. It just like turns out he's just like grinning, full face grin.
It's perfect. It's like, man, Pedro Pascal is my guy. That's like it's like just, I don't know.
Yeah. Totally. He's having a moment right now, and we're all here for it. We're loving
Absolutely. So aside from God of War, aside from Mando, we've been watching. We started the You show. I think it's like season 3 or season 4.
I think 4. I don't know if all of it's out, but I think it started on Netflix at least.
Yeah, we haven't. We watched a couple episodes. It's okay. We also watched. What was it? It's Mando. Oh, Last of Us. Of course, Last of Us. I think I've got. I'm behind on one episode as of today. Gotta watch that, and then we have, I think, one more episode.
Yep, finale's coming up. Yep.
But I think that's it. What you been up to, dude?
A few things. A couple movies. So, the Oscars are coming up this Sunday. In addition to the Last of Us finale airing this Sunday, the Oscars are also airing this Sunday. So Anna and I have concocted a scheme to watch the remaining Best Picture nominees that we haven't seen yet. And so we started last night with watching Tar, which is on Peacock.
How was that? Tell me about it.
On Peacock.
I've been wanting to watch it so bad.
So I did not love it. But I will say, I think it's a movie that you'll probably enjoy more than me. It feels more a thing that you'll enjoy than me.
Okay.
In a weird sort of way. Obviously, we have similar sensibilities, but I think that, you can put up with more
is it kind
pretentious types of things and
head up asshole kind of shit.
It's a kind of head up asshole kind of movie, I think, a bit. Not in the way that you described Crimes of the Future or anything like that. I think it's a far cry from that as far as I can gather.
But it's pretentious.
I didn't see that movie.
It's a little bit self-aware.
I don't know that it's self-aware. I think it's not self-aware as part of the problem. I think it's just pretentious, but it's sort of pretentious by design because it's basically this character study of this basically fictional woman. And I think that like it's artistically shot, and I think it's kind of interesting in terms of concept, but the execution is just fucking boring. And it's just meandering as all hell. Like it's the kind of I'll spoil something for you. It's not actually a spoiler. The movie opens with its end credits. So it's 5 minutes of just credits before anything happens. And it's the full.
That's real pretentious.
Like, that's your head is covered in shit from being up your ass so far. You know what I mean? Like it's within your head is inside your intestines at this point.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And like that was the kind of thing where it's just like fucking seriously.
Oh, that's what we're into, right?
And then after that, it opens with quite literally, I think, like a 10 to 15 minute thing where it's like a talk between Lydia Tarr, who's this composer, and like it's like a live interview with like someone from the New Yorker or something like that, like in front of a live audience. And it's like this full, basically unedited, like TED Talk kind of thing between the two of them, which in a bubble is kind of an interesting way to open the film, but it's boring. Because she's just talking about shit, and she's just she's just sounding pretentious as fuck, and the whole point is like her being pretentious, and like the whole movie is kind of her unraveling as a person, kind of thing. And so it's kind of interesting as a concept, but again, like it's literally like an hour and a half before anything of note happens, and it's the kind of the film that like when something interesting is about to happen, it usually either cuts away from it, or it shows it for a second, then cuts away from it. And it just, to me, it always felt like it was on the cusp of doing something interesting with it, but not actually ever doing anything interesting with it. And so I kind of told Anna, and she I think she think she hated it more than I did. And
wow.
I don't think either of us hated it. I think it's a well-made film. I think it's a well-shot film.
Boring
Kate
as
Blanchett,
fucking pretentious.
Kate Blanchett is incredible. She feels like a totally fucking different person. Her American accent is incredible. There's a lot of like one-ers
feels
in
like
it.
an asshole.
Really good
like
one takes. Oh yeah, she sucks. She sucks as a person. Like totally sucks. But interesting to watch in some ways. And so like I think it's like this heady sort of film that's like more interesting to talk about than to actually watch because it's 2.5 hours and it had no fucking business being 2.5 hours because the motherfucker had to show you his credits at the end, the beginning of the film. Because I'm like, I just imagined it like I just wrote it in the script that like I just thought that we'd have the credits at the beginning of the film, like and I'm just like all right, whatever. Like, I'm not opposed to watching credits.
That's fucking funny.
I'm not opposed to watching credits. I don't need to leave and watch credits. I don't bitch about, like, waiting for Marvel post-credit scenes and, like, oh, God, I have to sit through 10 minutes of credits. How dare these assholes that made this film make me sit through this? But it's like...
beginning.
But it was just such a pretentious, like, dipshit move.
You need to watch that fucking movie that I watched with organs in the fucking plastic.
God. Yeah, I should watch that as a comparison point for pretension, just like which one's the more pretentious film. It's the kind of film that I think that there's a lot of interesting ideas baked into it, and I think it's the kind of film that I think would be really interesting on a rewatch because you think you'd pick up on things you didn't pick up on the first time around. But at the same time, it's so fucking boring that I don't think I'll ever watch it again in my life because there's a million other things I'd rather watch and spend my time with. And it sucks because it feels like it was knocking on the door of being something really, really interesting. Like it's basically a biopic about a fictional person and like a really interesting way of doing that. But it just, I don't know, it never really kind of hit the crescendo that it seemed like it was building towards. And
kind of sounds like a movie I'd be into a little bit.
But I think you would enjoy it more than I did. So I'm not going to say don't watch it because I think that you could find some value in it, and you may very well just love it. You know what I mean? You may like it's gotten a lot of buzz. People are really, really loving it. I think it just didn't click with us for whatever reason. But to me, like it felt like it had shades of Whiplash, but like Whiplash was like fucking satisfying and like.
Yeah, Whiplash was fucking
cool, like and just a great film, and like I don't know, like I'm just like if I want a film kind of like this, I'll just watch Whiplash again because it just did everything that this thing kind of could have done,
but did not.
But it actually did. Whiplash actually did those things and showed you those things. It's kind of how I felt about it. So it was a little disappointing in that regard. It's not a bad film. I think again, Kate Blanchett was fantastic, worth it for seeing her performance, if nothing else. I guess. I'll be shocked if it wins anything at the Oscars other than Kate Blanchett, maybe. I think she's kind of a spoiler candidate right now. I think Michelle Yeoh is probably the front runner, but I don't know. I wanted to like it a lot more than I ended up liking it, unfortunately.
I've been wanting to watch it for weeks. I
mean, give it a look if you have 2.5 hours that you don't mind.
It's a long one.
Being bored with, but well, that's the problem is all these Oscar movies that we haven't watched, they're literally all 2.5 hours at least. So I'm like, God damn it, man, just give me something. Oh, except for Women Talking. Women Talking is sub 2 hours. So good on you, Women Talking. But you're the only one that we have to pay to watch. So go figure. Other than that, we've been we had some bevies. We had some beverages on a Saturday night. And we watched some schlocky shit. We watched the 2002 live-action Scooby-Doo movie, written by James Gunn. Not directed by James Gunn, but written by it. It was intended to be a rated R, or I think it was written as a rated R script and then kind of retrofitted into a PG movie. And I will say it is delightful. It is not a great movie, but it is hella entertaining, is what I'll say about it. I think the live action cast is pretty good overall. Matthew Lillard's Shaggy, like fucking great rendition. The CGI Scooby is like, bad and obviously hasn't dated all that well, but like it's still funny and like honestly it being kind of shitty looking kind of adds to the charm of the movie, 20 plus years on even. The Scrappy Doo twist is great. Let me at him, Uncle Scooby. I love Scrappy. I always loved Scrappy as a character, even though he was an annoying little shit in the cartoon. But the idea of making him in the villain because he was a little shit and they kicked him out of the mystery machine, loved it. So 2002 Scooby-Doo live action.
2002 Scooby-Doo live action. What is that one?
So many. so many adult innuendos because they were leftover jokes from the rated R script of it. But we enjoyed the hell out of it. If I watched it sober, would it be as fun? No, probably not. But it's got Rowan Atkinson. He's playing a robot in it or whatever. Fuck it, man. It was good. I mean, I don't know if it's good, but I had fun with it. So there's that. Now, on the other side of things, I'm just going to go like back and forth. Well, not back and forth. That was my only silly one for this episode.
This looks like trash. I'm watching the trailer for the
trailer.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe this was...
You got to be in the mood for it. That's what I would say.
Okay.
We started The Last of Us at long fucking last. We started The Last of Us. So, obviously, with the finale coming up, we're trying to work our way toward being caught up on the series. I can say that we are 3 in right now, with every intention to, certainly once we get the Oscar movies that we want to watch out of the way, finish up with The Last of Us. Not too far after the finale comes out. I think we're going to try to work through it. I don't think we want to burn through it and totally binge it, but we've been watching like one a day, or there was one where we watched, I think, episodes 2 and 3 in the same night with a little space in between. And I'm still trying to finish my playthrough of part 1, actually. So either way, we're working our way through The Last of Us. We had not watched any of it for so long that we finally watched 3. I think we're now sucked into it. I think Anna watched, like the first half hour of episode 1 is pretty dark and and sad and whatnot, and obviously stuff we'll talk about when we talk about the show in full. But I don't think she was totally into it. But I think once it kind of made the time jump, the setting jump, she's now hooked too. So it's easier for us to watch it. It's always hard for me to watch things when she's not interested because I have to find time to like carve out to watch it. Whereas when we're both watching things, it's not a conversation. It's just, you want to watch it? Okay, yeah. So I think we'll keep watching it. And we'll talk about it in full detail at some point, hopefully soon. And then one episode more of Andor. We are within the prison arc. So we were introduced to Kino Loy, Andy Serkis's character.
Okay.
The only episode we watched so far was basically like him, like kind of getting up to speed of assembling this shit,
Build this shit. Do it.
Yeah, yes. I'm like, this lifestyle looks like it fucking sucks. I guess that's why it's prison, and I guess that's why it's prison in the basically fascist universe of Star Wars under the Emperor, blah blah blah. But anyway, it still looks like it fucking sucks. So the one guy was like, "Fuck this," and electrocuted himself or whatever in the middle platform in the hallway or some shit.
Yeah.
But it's really good, really good.
You're
show.
in the second arc though. That's the second arc.
Yeah, we're in that arc. So we're I think that was episode 8 that we watched. So we're like 2/3 the way there. So
it's really cool how that show has such distinct storytelling differences. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's really cool.
These different arcs. Yeah. So we'll obviously continue to watch Andor, but we're obviously way behind on Andor, whereas Last of Us we have a chance to be somewhat timely with. So I think we'll probably focus on Last of Us a little bit more in the near future so that we can cover it in a timely fashion. But that's it. That's what we've watched. That's what we've been up to. So yeah.
That's it. That's the episode, dude.
I'm out of rants. I'm out of rants about timelines. I'm out of rants about Creed and whatnot. I think it's time to wrap it up. So thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. We're on patreon.com/watchreviewrepeat. You can get early access to all of our regular episodes as well as timed exclusive access to any bonus episodes. We haven't started watching John Wick, I will say. I don't know if the bonus episode's going to happen. We're going to rewatch the films. We talked about maybe doing a bonus episode last episode. We didn't fully commit to it. We kicked it up. We kicked the tires on it. I'm going to rewatch all the John Wicks anyway. So it's just a question of what do we take the time and record a separate episode on it? But
what comes out next week? I feel like I know what I was looking forward to coming out next week is Turok. Turok comes out next week.
Turok comes out tomorrow, my dude. Turok comes out tomorrow.
I might watch that tomorrow.
Yeah, you can go watch Turok tomorrow. Well, anyway, John Wick is the 24th. Shazam is the 17th.
Okay.
Scream is also tomorrow. Scream 6 is also tomorrow. And then Dungeons and Dragons is the 31st. Can't forget about that. So So, like I said, March is just fucking loaded.
We got
up
some
with
decisions to make.
And we've got TV shows like The Last of Us is wrapping up on Sunday. So like, I don't know. Like, I want to watch the John Wicks, but like, we're going to watch a bunch of Oscars movies. We got to finish 6 more episodes of Last of Us. We'd like to watch the other 4 episodes of Andor, but she hasn't seen any of the John Wicks. So we'll definitely watch them because I want to see Chapter 4.
Oh.
And so like we're going to watch them. So it's just a question of whether we have time for a bonus episode, I guess, quite literally, of whether we have time for it. So maybe not. If not, we'll do a rewatch. We'll talk about it in some capacity, even if it's like a mini section on the Chapter 4 episode. We'll do a recap if you're planning on doing a rewatch yourself. But we'll figure it out. So anyway, patreon.com/watchreviewrepeat. Long-winded saying maybe we'll have bonus episodes in the future that you'll check out through Patreon. If not John Wick, then something else for sure. Websites, watchreviewrepeat.com. We're on the socials at WRRpod on Twitter. Facebook.com/watchreviewrepeat is our page. You can like and follow us there. We're also on Instagram at watchreviewrepeat. Questions, comments, suggestions, send those our way to watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. Our intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. It is licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. So on the script, I for the next episode, I put a question mark at the end because honestly, I don't fucking know what we're doing next. So The Last of Us does end on Sunday, so that feels like kind of the most.
We could do that one. Sure.
Let's do that pretty soon. After it wraps up, as long as Anna and I can make our way through the end of the series in a relatively timely fashion. We could talk about Turok 65 is what it's actually called, I think, but we could do Turok. We could do that. Maybe I'll let you catch that and you tell me about it and let me know if it's worth catching. If you feel so inclined.
I would catch that before I would catch Scream. I've never been a Scream guy, so.
Well, I'm also like I didn't watch Scream 5 and I haven't seen the other Screams in a good while, so I probably wouldn't run out to see Scream 6 myself either. So I think it's probably either The Last of Us
Turok
or doing something else or Turok, maybe.
What's it called? Last of Us. I'm leaning towards Last of Us. Last of Us has been.
Well, I know you wanted to. I know you want to talk about it, and so I want to talk about it, and so it's just for that one. I think it's a question of do Anna and I get through it quick enough to appreciate the show, number one, and then be able to talk about it, as well. So we're kind of roughly running it like a week and a half behind clip anyway right now, in terms of like episodes getting out, so I think there's a way to do it that we still talk about it within a couple weeks of the show finishing up, which is pretty good for us in terms of TV shows, mind you. So I think that's probably the most realistic target is let's shoot for The Last of Us next. But hey, maybe Turok's worthwhile. Maybe Turok's an episode kind of thing. We didn't think I didn't think we were going to cover Cocaine Bear, but
we covered that.
There we went. We covered it. We talked about Cocaine Bear. We did it. So maybe Last of Us, but I won't fully commit to it just yet. But we'll definitely cover it. If it's not the next episode,
keep our listeners on the edge of their toes.
That's right. If it's not the next episode, it will be the one after that. I think we're going to cover it. It's just a question of when is probably the best way to put it. So stay tuned. Stay in suspense.
And take care now. Bye then.
Laters on the Menjay.